Hello, people. Hello, people. I hope this is working now. Well, let's see. Thank you, Spirit, for helping me to become aligned to it. And it's funny because today's topic, if I understand right, how do you respond? How do you respond? And apparently I'm not responding yet. Okay. Anything? Hello? Anyone? Anyone? No. Says, oh, wait. Ah, ha, ha, ha. I might be lucky here. Okay. Yes, I see one person. Hello, Miranda. Hello, Jennifer. Okay. I think I finally figured it out. So there's a new way that's happening. And it's kind of funny because it just reminds me of how life is. We are in what's called the transitional era. And that is, we're learning how to turn on the ability to evolve again. We forgot. Those parts of our brain have forgotten how to evolve. The right temporal junction parietal lobe, doesn't evolve. Certain parts of our brain doesn't evolve. We've learned to be so domesticated. We forgot the ability to shake it off, to transform it out. We got really good at holding on to our shit, going, we're not going to let this happen again. But that's the evolution of our consciousness. And I also have to pay attention to the new thing that's happening, because there's the ability that I can go on my other page. It's just that I haven't even figured out how to get onto my own page. Now, I do happen to see some people here, so that excites me. I can do this. So today's topic, I don't even know if the title got through, but it is, how was your reaction to like aggression and all of this, all of these things. So I'm asking Spirit just to rewind, go there just a little bit and say, hi, I am Brenda Jean Power, and this is Medicine Woman Solution. And there's a solution to everything, as long as you keep your head. I'm not talking about ego mindset. I am talking about transcending that negative energy and that negative emotion and that stuff that's below 500, and you learn how to not vibrate higher. You know how to take your frequency on the inside and frequency, raise that up, which then creates a different alignment. Well, I can talk about that stuff some other time, but so new things that'll come onto the show, new things that'll begin to happen. What does all that mean? How do you handle it? Now, that's what's happening in this transition. How do you handle it? Most people don't know how to handle it. We have only handled it through conditions, how our parents did, how our parents did that, their parents did that, how the collective, how we do it as a group, how do we think for ourselves. We have so much trauma that we have forgotten how to evolve. We have so many addictions, but addictions are not the issue. It is the thing that creates the addictions. And it's the holding on to. It's holding on to. And I got to get you guys to understand that this paradigm has really got to be looked at and taken care of. How do we get beyond that? How do we allow ourselves to go beyond those particular things? So you don't have to, what do you want to call it? So you don't have to go into a space where you're rinsing and repeating the same story. You are ready to wake up. I had an opportunity to meet somebody that is a good healer, but at the same time, they weren't quite ready to awaken up those types of thinkings. And I noticed that if you're coming here, you are so ready. You may not quite understand why or how, but you know. So we have to learn to first respect everybody with an A-N-D. And that is, I respect you, you respect me, no matter where we're at. Not one is any better, but we do have what's called a hierarchy that works on this plane of existence. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that means that to play with the laws, to play with what's already there. And that's what we're doing, and is that we don't have to try to force it to fit us. It is learning how to get into these flows. There we go. It's learning how to get into these flows. And when we get into these flows, you can learn how to be your authentic self, to ride these waves. These waves of opportunities are as the quantum field, but at the same time, you'll learn how to drive inside that, knowing what it is that you want to choose. But it's how you cope, handle, and dare. It's the holding on to. And that is what I like to teach people and help them understand. So, oh, good. Hey, Nancy. So if I haven't read you before, then you get a chance to get your 2 minutes free. But please be patient. Spirit loves to talk and to teach, because this is where the enlightenment comes from. This is where it's about empowering you. I don't want you to be dependent on me. I want us to be independent to grow together. Because if I'm at a frequency and you're at another frequency, we are not going to be able to communicate. And I don't want you to be dependent on me. I don't want to create that same situation. I want you to evolve. I want you to be able to resolve your issues to evolve. So that's why I say resolve to evolve. And I want you to be able to stand as your authentic self and begin to know when you are choosing, instead of being in the middle. Hold on, I don't like this life. I'm going to use my new brain, which has to do with the balance of unity, and I can heal this shit out. This is why we like to talk about proof. This is how you can go and notice how you used to know, heal it out so it's not there anymore. So one thing, what does my leaky water heater say about me? Oh, lots of things. How interesting. That's an interesting question. So like when you're looking at that, thank you, Spirit, for helping me understand the metaphysical meanings. You just don't want to jump to your ego and go, oh, it's because I done this or I done that. We're not materialistic people anymore. We're not just human. We are spiritual humans. We need to act and understand. We are intuition and inform, and we need to know what that even means. Okay. My throat. So let me just take a sip here. And let me help you understand. Brenda, if you could check in my other groups, because if they're talking to me, I'm not going to be able to see it. So if you're in the group right now and receiving this, you may want to come to the main page. Like Patricia Henson, I can see you on the Metaphysical Brenda's page, and they got all these new things. But water represents the ability to have emotions. And what are we doing with those emotions? What's happening? You're overheating. You're overthinking. You're at your capacity and you broke. You're like, oh my God, I can't stop this leaky shit of thinking, or the leakiness of my emotion. You could break it down to one, because we get so high beta-ish that we have a tendency to just lose our shit or not know it, or we go in what's that insanity stuff. So it depends on where you're at, Kelly. So this is where you can stand back and go, okay, where is it? Because it feels calm to me. As you're in ego, you won't realize it. But when you start to ask your higher self, that's in the questioning, you can move beyond. So her reaction, and I'm going to play with this. Here, I'm just going to play with Kelly right now. This is part of her 1 minute. So let's just play with this. So her reaction to the leaky heater. When I first look at the energy field, it says there's a muddledness, and it has to do with how stable your life is. So it's kind of muddled. I says, tell me more. And he says, I can't believe, or I can't behave that way. They're telling me that you are fully aware of every time, here we go again. This is my automatic response to this situation. And I asked Spirit, give me an example so that the energy can run through me. Okay. For example, when you trust somebody and you love somebody and they're taking you on this journey and they're saying all these beautiful things, but yet they have a hidden agenda. And when you speak up and they're not listening because all they can think of their agenda, there's a part of you that, what is that reaction right there? Okay. And if I say, go, let's go different. Let's take that water heater and let's put it to the representation of a behavior, an action. And they said, well, the way I used to feel depressed. So you must have had some growth, sweetheart. And that is looking back further. There was a fawn response. And a fawn response when it comes to trauma, usually it means I want us to settle it. I want to please you. I want to, what can I do to make this situation go away? Okay, so it was good when you were 6 years old. And the emotion that was there was gun shy. So every time you wanted to do something after whatever that moment was at 6, you became gun shy. So gun shy in itself, as you get older, you are aging, but you are now doing your best to say, I don't want this 6-year-old to be in charge of this situation every time. So as it comes up as gun shy, you won't feel it. You're just going to feel the part of your brain that says, well, I got to make this stop. I got to determine. It's got to create growth. But at the same time, your little self has said, hold on. I need to run from this particular behavior, personality that's coming at me with that signature. I have learned how to take care of it and co-handle and deal when I was 6. And now we're seeing it as adult. First, we're going to stop and say why. Because your 6-year-old held on to, oh my God, I don't want to ever have this happen again. I'm going to do this. Hi, how you doing? Okay, yeah. And then as you age and you get hormone bursts, you are supposed to resolve and you're supposed to evolve. We kind of forgot that. So as we try this, no, that don't work. I'm going to try this. No, that don't work. And you're like, oh my God, overtime hopelessness every time. Okay, so then this particular loop continues. But your subconscious mind says, we already solved this. And we know that doesn't work. And it's usually because there's this particular emotion that doesn't allow you, and it becomes an arrested development. Like you haven't been able to develop skills beyond that. But at the same time, you're doing what you can, but you can't take that newfound wisdom to change this. So then this becomes a curse. But it's also tech, because you had wrote down, I got to be able to solve this. I got to be able to solve this. And you kind of inserted that there. At the same time, they implanted that, oh, you're a good little girl. Oh, okay. So then you got cues and triggers and you're not sure what's happening. I know this sounds really a lot, but Miss Kelly, it is in the way. So W-A-Y. What way is it that she needs to heal in order to get beyond, so she doesn't have to keep repeating and going back into particular emotions? They said you're ready to lift the veil even further. And notice that you're running from those pictures, those moments at 6. And when you became self-conscious that you became aware of you in the situation. And when you became aware of you looked at yourself and said, oh, we can't do that. Okay. I said, so where would you like her to hold? Well, they want you to do R2S. R2S. Okay. Second position soft. And I said, tell me more. And he says, well, it has to do with the haughty energy that the big people play off. And when that energy comes at me, it feels like it's coercing me. Yes, that's the way she's defined it as a child. And it was through you so off balance that you're like, I got to run from this because I don't know how to protect myself. So then you developed some habits. So every time you wanted to approach to do something other, you become gun shy. Let me explain this one. I was doing my show. Everything was great. Doing healings, bringing people on, doing this. And then there was a challenge that happened in my life that I did not know how to handle because the people that were in my space were just like my sisters. So different age, different characters, but the signature was the same. Similar storylines were the same. And that is what I couldn't let go of. So as a child, I became gun shy. How do I approach? How do I talk? How do I be? Now, as I age, it still happened. As I got older, I forced it, I changed it, but still situations, bam, they put me back and I'm like, I don't know how to approach this anymore. I don't even want to. So as this happened, it's like, the gun shy, how do I show up now? I was fine with the way I showed up, but I was condemned for it. I felt that energy come at me. Now, how do I reintroduce it? Well, usually you have to heal the idea of what gun shy, but it's also caused you to be in a reset. Okay, Miss Kelly? So understand, they want you to start to understand the 6-year-old ego self that had to run from, and it run from the depressed part of you. And let me tell you what this one is. You don't want to play that character anymore. It's like you are putting on that mask every day that this is who you are. And I think I put one by David Bowie, a meme up, and it was great advice that he gave at the time for the autistic child. But at the same time, it stops you from growing. And now we're in the transition. You are asked to grow. Otherwise, bee stings to bitch slaps. And I would rather have you learn on a whisper. So they're saying, begin to know the egoic part of you, that scared part of you, that part of you. But you put on the mask and you decided, I'm going to be this character. And I'm going to play this character because everybody is so happy. So what does that mean? They're so happy when I'm this way, but I'm miserable as F. And I know that I'm miserable, but I don't know because I'm an ego. I just know that I'm so don't want to experience whatever that was. And I'm so gun shy to be that person that I have shut down and forgot who she was. Now, as we begin to heal, we have to heal backwards so you can get to that part of you that is so beautiful and that's ready to remove those self-imposed limitations, take off that mask and be something other than gun shy. So I said, if you wanted to even heal the gun shy, they said, well, you first have to learn that one moment you didn't know how to self-soothe. You didn't know, and the way you chose to self-soothe isn't wrong. It just does not serve you anymore. In fact, you're banging your head against the wall because you're like, I don't want to be this person. I don't want to do this. But you don't know how. So this is why healing is important. So we're going to address that little bit of you that says, I have the habitual fear. And I have to make sure that I hold on to it so it don't happen again. But the only problem is that if you're moving forward and you're holding on to it, then you think this is a pass, but it's not. It's actually part of your GPS. And so you're running towards it every time because we're in the transitional stage now, which means your past is always going to be in front of you. And what's going to happen with that as you start to run from it, you're running towards it because you don't want it to happen again. But the programs that are inside of you is your GPS. This is why we want to heal that. So if I said, if we really wanted to heal your habitual fear that you're chasing, they said, if you held L3D, left wrist, third position deep, you have got to face the criticism, the words, the actions, the gestures, the booming, the directions, and all about this energy. Because you didn't know how to self-soothe it then. You can go back as the age you are now. Go back and help her, bring her forward, tell her to hold the same point, and let's look at this criticism. Now, some of you are like going, but the little girl, you can't forget her. Go back and allow yourself to feel, damn, that hurts. We've shut it off so well. We've overcome it so well. But if you allow yourself to heal just a little bit at a time, you're going to be able to rip that lid off. You're going to be able to take those roots out, and you will then all of a sudden create this cascading, recalibrating, resetting. And then all of a sudden in your brain, it's all going to feel different. In your body, it's rewritten different because how you fired and wired it, it goes away. And when you're holding this is where you get to sit in your hells. Instead of rewriting it, you get to unwrite it. Throw a clearance statement in there. What does this mean? It means that you'll be able to step into that stage in a very natural benefit after this healing. There are benefits to when you do these healings. The 6S help therapy has benefits. And when you get into that benefit, it becomes so natural, you almost forget that you acted that way before. But they are also reference points, perspectives. They are, what do I call those people? I forgot what you call parameters. So that when you start to grow, you take that energy and you grow. What happens is that love and wisdom start to get married. And when they have a marriage of love and wisdom, it'd be like the woman that said, oh my God, I was raped. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And she was in this archetype. She was in this victim mode. She was in this pain. She was in the suffering. She was in the trauma. But as her nervous system started to release and brought in the wisdom of it, and I believe it was through Dispenza, and when she went to gamma rays, her brain waves, and she came out, part of her is like, that gamma wave was like, I can't explain it, but I understand it. I understand it. It makes so much sense to me now. And when that happened, she was a totally different person because her nervous system relaxed, her whole body relaxed, her wisdom of bringing everything back to balance. And that's what I love about this 6S hope therapy. And it's 6 with an S, hope therapy. And it allows you, and the 6 represents to work on the stability, the safety, security, the sanity, serenity, and space. So let me turn to this. And it says, Nancy had a rough day today, neighbor drama, not resolved, but I had to remove myself and release the anger and ground and drunk. Good. And I'm better now. Very tough being a natural empath. Okay, so let me tell you on that one, my dear. And, and I want you to measure how well I stood up, I seen it, I took action. Now let's take and go further. And I'm going to say that the moment, because my body's like, oh, we take that moment, and on the emotional scale of how you knew it, it's still a 10. You calmed this down, but you fired and wired. It has a memory. It has an OMG. You learn to readjust and not really adapt. We now to take you to this next step. I says, what would we want you to do? And they said, notice that her reaction was that she did all these things, but it is how to not have any empathy for the situation. Well, here's the one thing that people don't understand when you're an empath or a kinesthetic or a sensitive. They're all different. But one thing is in common is that you have to learn not to care sometimes because you are living in the land of duality. You get it, you see it, you understand it. But because you care and you're hoping they have the same heart, then you can take and you're starting to choke yourself on your own ego's way of defining what an empath means without boundaries. And so it can take you to the next level. It can tap into your nerves and it's overstimulation. So the environment changes your DNA and your DNA chooses to express in that way. Your inner world programs says it's okay to do that. We need to change those. And I said, if we were going to address that, they said, notice that you have to learn Nancy, what is it, Bulliard? You have to learn something. So you're going to say, thank you, Spirit. As an empath, how do I take and do this? How do I change this? How can I do it in a way that I don't have to be overstimulated with that? And normally we're like, hey, it's outside, it's them, it's this. Well, first of all, we know that the environment's doing it. So now what program is projecting this? What program needs to be addressed? And one of the things that I feel like we have to evolve in this one is what's called the RTJP. It is when we start around 2 or 3, we started to develop this ability to think what other people think. We would look, we would observe. We don't recognize ourselves. But we're like, it's like, okay, so here you go. You look at this. So just consider this, Nancy, because it's going to be more than 2 minutes. You get a bonus here. You're looking at the situation and your RTJP goes, oh, I'm thinking what they're thinking. Now, as an empath using that ability, it can overstimulate us. At the same time, if our ego is in charge of that ability, then we can overthink, overstimulate, over going into high beta. It takes you to the next level beyond yourself, which is not ego. It is beyond ego. It is over identifying with matter, that the matter is now you. You have to live that shit. You've lost yourself. You're not in the authentic self. But that was an experience. These are the feelings. This is the stuff. So when you start to pull out, this is where you have to take those chemical peptides of emotions, because that's the only way you bring yourself in and out of existence. Okay, so here's your cells. They're all over. They're neurons, okay, neurotransmitters. There's a receptor site on tons of them on a cell. When you're outside and your ability to grow and all the lessons that your soul has signed up for, it will be all of a sudden, it's like a magnet. See, emotions are magnetic. So then this information substance will come in and lock itself inside this, and then the cell vibrates this emotions. Okay. And you will start to feel yourself in and out of existence. But perception is the key to be able to change how you want to feel. When you are doing healing tools, you can change it. Okay. So when you look at, and I'm saying, okay, so for Nancy, even though you went and you solved it, we're going to go back to the snapshot of, oh, the vibration. And they said it tapped in an anxiety button you had. And I said, well, how'd I get there? And I said, well, the outside energy, when she was about 9 years old, was, I'm going to change your behavior before you change mine. And they did. Whoever it is, whatever it was, did. To the point where all of a sudden you're like, oh, now, if you're an empath, you are going to read people's energies before they even open their mouth or their gestures start to switch. But if you're reading them through ego, you're going to be reading them through fear and irrational thinking. You won't have your whole self to do it with. So you're learning what it was into moving into what you are. So in this case, you're learning to begin to notice, hold on, when I'm over to the twang or I'm an ego mindset. I'm going to drum. Hold on. You're coming back to your spiritual aspect of yourself. Now you have to learn how to create a spiritual mindset. And when you do, you'll start to be rocky at first, but you want to come to karmic balance. Okay. So that means usually you have to remove the emotional charges. So I like what Kelly said. My truth testing says, yes, to connect it to first and recent bad relationships. And so it's good. She's starting to connect with herself of understanding. Okay. And if we can learn how to ask, like I go in the kitchen, I'm like, I'm so mad because that won't work. I said, wait a minute. And I muscle tested myself. It's not true. I even asked my heart, no, it's not true. I said, so what is this? I'm an automatic response. And this is how you're supposed to respond when something like this happens. And I thought, I'm not even being myself, even though I recognize that energy. And they says, yeah. I'm like, no, I'm taking my power back. I've done it to myself. This is the way I always respond. Well, I'm going to change that. I don't need to respond that way every time. Okay. So for you, as I read you further, it says that you've learned when they asked you or done something or however the energy came at you, it created you to change your behavior. But it also, you agreed that you could feel and know what a diminished moral character was. So you defined those words in that moment. I said, why? Well, the habit that your soul has wanted you to address when you came into this world was to understand helplessness and to stop identifying with it. They said they want you to go back to that snapshot of where, and if you ask spirit, or you do a 2-minute sit of just asking spirit, your soul will start showing you how you know what the definition of helplessness feels like. And then you can start addressing a great big thing. You feel the lack of power. You feel the lack. They said then you can take the left wrist, second position, right here, 1, 2, and put your thumb there, put your finger here, wrap your 3 around, and then you can hold it. Remember, you're pushing in deep, and you sit there and you allow yourself, as you're holding this point and you're dropping your hand, you get to drop into the hellish state of an emotional vibrational story. And when you're sitting here and you're thinking it down, oh my God, it's a 10, and you stay there and let the innate wisdom and you work together to heal that snapshot, then you're like, oh wait, your thoughts will change, your emotions will change, and you're going to teach yourself how to self-soothe, self-regulate, and how to become more your authentic self. Okay. Now, hopefully other people have understood what I said. Oh, Kelly recognizes that where's it in her body? Good for her. Keep healing. Oh, somebody did. Okay, so Angel Ramirez, have I read you before, darling? Let's see. Oh, good night, April. We're going to get you your 1 minute. Good. So people are communicating, talking. Yep, I'll get you to get a read on you guys soon. Kelly said, makes perfect sense. Yes, I want the growth. Leave the past. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Let's see. I'm not sure what that is about. Again, if you're new here, you get 2 minutes. Those that can't wait, then you can go on the waiting list. I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch up all these here. See, Kelly understands my auto response to the water heater, and thus life takes my attention, like obsessive till it's soft. Exactly. That's also another way of saving grace. You don't want to look at something. So it is like, you know how when your one foot hurts, you're like, ow, 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 you can't stop thinking about it until someone stomps on the other one. And you're going, oh, that's worse. Ah. So sometimes we distract ourselves. When you see visions in your sleep state, you got to understand. I need to do a dream class all by itself. You define that through your ego or your spiritual mindset, because when you define it through your spiritual mindset, it'll have a total different meaning than how your ego has addressed it. If you're in a state of fear and you have dropped down out of your authentic self below 500 hertz and you go to look at something, you may misunderstand it. Okay. But if there are different kinds of visions, see, I had to define mine because my visions usually when I was wide awake, and it's like, what? No, I'm shutting that darn thing down because it was scary. But at the same time, I learned how to use myself in the middle of the night to sleep and go on to different theta waves to do some healings. The definitions and defining the way our brain processes, not in a order form, but in the way that our file system is, then you can take bits and pieces and you can break it down. And there's more than one meaning to everything. And a lot of times with your visions, if you're actually having certain visions, there may be more than one meaning. You have to ask spirit. Oh, Kelly says, the more I want something to happen lately, the further away it feels. Must be the attraction factor I'm overlooking. Yes, yes, exactly. You're holding on to something because, and that life force just keeps, you understand about holding on to is that you don't never want this to happen again. You get 100% of your life force. And if you are like, have any reaction, you over-identified, you take part of that life force and you say, I'm holding this here. And I'm going to make sure I never forget, and never forgive, or never whatever. But that becomes the thing, the attraction factor. You're right. Okay. Okay. Good. Nancy said, I understand exactly what you mean. Thank you. Oh, okay. So she's meant to look at that later. Oh, yes, I've read. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah. All right. Good. Yes, Elliot. Let's see. Oh. Apparently I have to change my attention. Isn't that funny? Okay, did you guys understand what we talked about today? Every word that when spirit speaks, they have meaning in every word, and sometimes we have to define it. I come through as this part of energy, and sometimes I need translators. Because if this is new to you, you're going to think, yeah, I can't connect. But then there's part of you that's curious and you want to know more. Then take certain words that you thought you knew the meaning of and begin to just go to the dictionary, go to, what is this modern day thinking or any of this? Just go there. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to check and make sure, because we do offer healing. So let's see, what do I have? 8 minutes for $16. Just know that every time you share, your name gets to go into a drawing for a chance to win 15 minutes free with me on air. We do this once a month. And come on, open it. There we go. And we also have once a month. I have a group called the Tribe, okay, Medicine MWS Tribal Unit. And what it is there it gives you 4 solid videos. But they are all about growth and learning and healing, and it can make a major difference. And we have Nikki up on deck. I just have to get my information first and go over to Nikki, whichever I lost her. Let's see. I gotta find her. I never remember how to find you on Facebook. Isn't that the weirdest thing? Let's try it again. Oh. All right, I got to get to the other page, but they changed it. How did they do that? Okay. Oh, there she is. Well, you're there. And it's okay. You know what? I spelled it wrong. Why did I do that? That's so funny. Oh, good. You guys understand what I'm talking about. Excellent. I really appreciate that you are hearing this and understanding this. This is you. This is you guys. You wanted it. You needed it. And therefore, I'm here. When you're ready, the teacher appears, doesn't it? And when the teacher is ready, the student appears. Yes. So I'm getting more and more ready for that. Our MWS Academy has really been I've been really upgrading. I've been really getting there, and it's it's happening. It's happening. It really is. It's just that they're so intricate, because when I start to type just one little word, all of a sudden it's like I'm channeling. It's like, no, which is not a bad thing, because that's what you want to be. But it doesn't just, it's like takes one word and then it'll just like explore just on that, which is not a bad thing again. But it could be. Okay. I think I have the right Nikki. Oh, please, oh, please, oh, please. Okay, so I sent you a link, my dear. Let's see what happens. Here on the show, we love to help people heal and help them grow. And we appreciate all those. Now, you can come on. You don't have to have video. You can just have audio only, or you can have video. Understand that whatever comes onto Medicine Woman Solution, it is the property of Medicine Woman Solution. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Brenda?
I am good. I am good.
I like your hair tonight. You did a little something different. It looks good.
It's funny how spirit loves to match me and and I'm like, I kind of like it.
I like it. You know what? You have a different radiance to you with your hair pulled back. I think we can see more of you.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's summertime's coming.
Yeah.
You're gonna see this sucker up in all different weirdo hairdos. It's still a little chilly out, so I'm gonna still be quite covered.
We're opposite then in the States.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We're coming into spring and you guys are going into fall.
Wow, I didn't know that. Well, that's cool.
Oh, yeah, and when you travel, it's like such eye openers.
So in tribal, you can bring in the sunshine when we're all not grounded from no sun.
That's true. But the only thing is that I've tried to do it outside, and I'll tell you, that sun can get bright and hot. And then the neighbors all decide they're going to go outside and just start, cleaning, running up their things. And then the birds go off, and it's like, holy moly. But that's okay. Okay. So let me set the timer, which
okay.
Tell me what you need and want, dear. Go.
Whatever pops up. You know me.
Excellent. Oh,
whatever they want me to know.
We're going to go on the same theme. Oh, we're going to go on the same thing. Okay, so the same thing is same theme. And what they're saying is that, okay, part of one of your automatic responses. So a trigger will happen, and I'm asking this, do you want me to, okay. They said, no, just wait. When something starts to feel incompatible, okay, part of how your behavior has to come out to protect yourself, and it has to come out in a certain way because you've learned how to use this behavior to get the results you're seeking. And if you feel hurt in any way, then you're doing your best to discern what's happening as this auto response is happening. But sometimes certain habits of, okay, check, because there's so much going on, is like, oh, gotta need to run away. Now, once you start to go into that run for stress mode, you then go into a helplessness stress mode. It's like, here we go again, same shit, different story. You with me so far?
Yeah, very much.
Okay. They said in this auto response that you're ready to take care of, you know what it means to feel small. And you're like, never again. Okay, it's got an attitude in there. Now, you will then start to muster up a little bit of loftiness. Now, there was a TV or movie called The New Guy, and he was skinny and scrawny and everybody picked on him. But he went into a new school, which means he's like, okay, I'm going to be the baddest person in the world, and nobody's going to mess with me. So there's a mask that we put on, and we try to pretend and to be this mask, and it worked. But there's a part of you that's tired of that character, that mask. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, so they're asking you to notice this mask. Now, as I dig a little deeper, now this is for apparently my benefit, and that is we're going to look at this. So there's a certain part of your brain, and your brain, if it's marked in your brain, they can be herds or they can be markers. And they will reproduce a very particular way for your physiology to respond. So that includes the physical aspect of you. So we're going to go to the brainstem, and it says that it has to do with the automatic things. like circulation and stuff like this. So your brainstem has a particular marker, but it's linked to your spinal cord. Okay, so it is, can my body rest and digest? And I said, no. Yes, it can, but the tech that you wrote, and I said, when did she write it? 12 years old. You are not going to get cursed. You're going to curse others before they curse you. So it's not like a bad cursing, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a protective thing. So at 12 years old, you're like, I'm not going to readjust. You're going to readjust. Does this make even more sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now what happens is that this particular marker, if I go, they said, not yet. They said in the parietal lobe, you are storing a pain of what occurred at 12. You're storing a particular pain. I says, can you tell me more? And they said, yes. This pain of hopelessness, this pain of distrust, and this pain of judgment. And I'm like, so this is all wrapped up and it's causing her to respond. Yes. But it says what it's doing is causing her to yearn. Do you know what I mean by that?
Like, I don't know, yearn, like attention or
okay,
affection?
So when you understand, this is why this is beautiful, is because when we take that next word that we want to really look at the definition that she's used, okay, we have to first look, the feeling of intense longing for something, okay, you're craving it, you're pining, you desire, okay, so in this case, all that shit was happening. And all you wanted was yearning for. And I asked, what is it? For balance, for peace, for love, for joy.
Mm-hmm.
But you understand, you designated part of your will, your life force to be in that yearning, but you couldn't hear it because of all of the other protections that you had to do. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But if you were just to sit back and go, why does it have to be like this every time? I just want. So take a fresh instance. Do you have one? Let me know.
Yes, I do.
Now just take a second and just sit back and go, oh, I just wanted, and see if you can hear the answer.
A lot of times I just want people to be authentic.
There you go. Because it's telling me that your intuitive self knew that it just said, I just want people to be authentic. I just want it. So notice the yearning. And if you were really to sit back and listen on a scale from 0 to 10, how much do you really want that?
1,000.
Good. Now notice that is actually causing your loop to repeat again.
Okay.
So do me a favor, hold L1D. Okay. L1D. And as you're sitting there, I want you to look at how you know and feel the yearning, feel it, and just lose yourself into that to the point you're staring right at it. And tell me when you're staring right at it.
I got it.
And now just look at it and say, I see you. I'm going to remove, transcend, and let it go. I'm taking my power off of you. Why do I have to believe that I can't see authenticness? What am I holding on to? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyond. And allow yourself to stare at it and understand that the quantum leaping here is that what you stare at changes. So keep staring at it. We're going to remove, transcend, and let it go. Now you can't see her, but she's holding on to those points. Okay, so we're going to remove, transcend. There you go. I want you to go. Hold on. I want you to notice there is a feeling. Where is it in your body or your mind? Where is it?
It's like right in the sacral center.
Okay, good, good. Now stare at it. Now stare at both. Say, I got my eye on both of you. Use all of your whole peripheral. Look at them both of how you know and you're holding on. We're going to tap that part of your brain. We're going to say, thank you, Spirit. We're going to start to take how you know it and just take your power back. And as you do, you're going to say, all that shit you put onto me, I'm going to give put it in the treasure chest. Don't give it back to them. Let them figure it out. Okay, just ignore that. Allow yourself to just start to remove and transcend. Stare at it until it starts to dissipate. Stare at it. Now, this is where everybody's going to be quiet for just a moment. And as you stare at it, you're going to notice the intensity. Now you're going to just say, remove, transcend, let it go. Now measure. Is it still
About a
1,000?
1.
Good. Again, look at it. Look at it. And now notice, hey, I don't have to readjust. We're going to take that out. How? You can feel it, right? It's like your body's jumping and says, I have to readjust. Let's take that out. Let's literally take it out and just crush it up and take the light out of it. And then now let's turn on the cells and turn on the own light, your own light. Your cell. Ooh, that was a nice one. So now her cells are beaming this light and she's putting light back into her body. How do you feel? Is it shifted already?
I feel like tingly.
Excellent. Now notice your whole body's coming to life.
Yeah.
We're going to check that part. So I see it's a 0. I'm going to check that part of your brain.
It's
and
a 0.
Said, well, good. And they said, we're going to look at the link. And I said, the link to what? They says, the link to the spinal cord. I says, where was it? And they said, it was in the sacrum because I can't and I won't and I don't know how. The shoulda, coulda, wouldas are all into I am safe. And now I want you to feel when you think about that incident that we just had you look at, do you feel the same way anymore?
No, I don't.
Feel safe now?
I do.
And can you see that they're just a program and you don't have to let that energy in to make you become something more?
Yes.
Good. Now
I do.
You put your boundary up and you're like, when I see this again, I don't have to go into automatic response. And I'm going to look, because when I'm going to be tested, and I passed, I want spirit to show me I passed. But if I have going back into habit, say, whoa, do I need to believe that? I take my power back. I don't even have to believe my own thoughts because I know that I don't have to choose that program anymore. You can do that?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so proud of you, Nikki.
Yes.
I know you'll keep up and date with me because you're in the tribe and all this. So I'm excited to know what's going to happen afterwards.
I'm ready. I'm trying every day.
No, you're not trying. You're doing, and I know you are.
Yes, I'm doing.
I get the language, but I know you're doing, and it's awesome.
Thank you so much, Brenda.
I have to, before you go, sweetheart, before you go, I want you, we have a wind that's changed. All of a sudden, the wind picked up. You'd think it'd be scary. But I feel like that wind was getting my attention to let me know that you just cleared like all this out of your aura. It's still cleaning. It's still cleaning. So we're going to make sure we do figure 8s.
Okay.
And then I want you to hold your forehead and your belly button, push in and lift up, smile, chin up. And we're going to start to, what we're doing as you hold this, I want you to understand, seeing figure 8s, what you're doing is you're resetting your boundaries. So no matter what crap happens, you don't have to go, oh, I get it. Thank you, Spirit. Oh, God. See, did you feel that? Oh, holy cows.
You know, I want to say something about this. So yesterday, I kind of felt like I was moving into inadequacy about my intuition. So I had an intuition. I said, oh, no, you're moving into inadequacy. Don't feed into it. But that intuition was kind of validated today with, I'm not going into my filters. I'm waiting for the evidence. So I got some evidence today and I said, oh, here's my evidence. Here's my whisper. Here's my opportunity to heal out some of this inadequacy, because this person did still create a situation for me to heal out some inadequacy.
Oh my God.
So I used the situation and used my tools earlier today. I mean, the situation is still there, but I do feel like I was tested. And normally I would go into attitude because I validated something, but I didn't.
That's awesome. Do you understand your growth? Yeah. It's just those little things. And it doesn't mean, I just want about people to understand, and I want to see if you can understand this. When you start to take the things you're holding and all of those things that they're auto responses and you start to clear them out, it's not that you become less than and vulnerable and, oh my God, you have regained your life force and you actually have a different mindset. And she just told you, because it's like, hold on, I'm going to use these tools differently. And she can now.
Yeah.
And she's not going to go into that over response or that over identification. She's like, I don't really know if I need to. Now, I'm so curious of how this was going to be.
I mean, the emotions were still there. I'm not gonna lie.
Earlier.
The emotion earlier. Yes. The emotion was still there. I felt very disappointed still.
Okay,
you know,
but that's also on another program. So what happens is that, first of all, we're so used to be in that reaction. It's called an association, or it's part of the conditioning of the attraction. So the association, well, like we're watching Mr. Bean cartoons. It's hilarious. But there's like, oh, it's just attitude. You never really have to hear him talk, but it's like, oh, we are so used to associations or flippant thinking and flippant being. I went in the kitchen, I went, oh, and I'm like, really? Do I want to look at this thing as disgusted? But I think it's hilarious in my head. But what are the people seeing? And what am I really telling the universe? So we're learning that we're complicated, but we're actually incredible.
Yes.
So.
And normally, like you said, you know, I would run away once I see because I no longer just go based off of the way I see my filter. I know I have filters. I always wait and say, okay, I'm going to wait and see if there's some evidence that backs this up. No longer going to just create a story, you know? And when the evidence came in, I said, okay, I accept it. But at the same time, I don't accept the fact that I'm going to give away my power to this.
Good.
So
See,
I will know for my own knowing what's going on, so I don't get too involved in a situation. At the same time, you know, I understand you know, people are also experiencing their filters, their triggers, their wounds. Yes. And that's okay. So on a soul level, when I did my healing earlier, I said, I'm okay with what you did. Yeah. I'm not taking this on with me. So it's okay. You're going to have to figure it out.
Like, you're learning.
Yes, like it's okay. You figure it out. I'm still going to be your friend. I'm still going to be here. Just, I do understand what you're doing. I don't like it, but at the same time, I understand it.
It's a total respect thing. You're moving into the and position. So in this transition, most people can't figure out how to get to the and, but you're doing it. It's not pretty, but when you start to heal, all of those over-identifications.
Yeah.
It's time to go again. I had no idea.
Game over. No. Well,
I thought we shut it off.
I appreciate it because I feel like I do feel like, you know, I know that you hold space for us, you know, in tribe. So, you know, you're holding all of the space for us to come in and say, okay, hey, you know, let's learn, let's get our whispers, let's understand these whispers are coming in. Let's also understand that we're intuition, you know?
Yes, we are.
So at the same time, I learned today, I need to understand sometimes that I am right, but at the same time, I'm still working on the filters. So I need to kind of get in between there and understand what's what, you know? So I'm starting to look at that a little bit better.
Because when you are both right and wrong, depending on where the alignment is, okay?
Right.
Like I go through that, but when I'm working with another or being with another, it is about both of us. And I may be understanding where I'm at, but the frequency may be different over there. So there is learning how to be that and. So you sound like you're doing it. Keep doing it.
Right, thank you, Brenda.
Excited. Thank you so much, dear.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Oh, tomorrow's tribe. So if you want to come join up, we will have that and we'll enjoy it. I can't remember what tomorrow. Oh, it's healing tools. Healing tools. So look at all you wonderful people. Hello, hello, hello. Let me just check to see if there's any other expedites. Expedites are those that want to pay. They jump the queue from all of the other 1-minute readings. Okay. All righty. Let me move to which window, Brenda? Thing if I know. Oh, I can use what? I have no idea. I got to go here. There we go. And now I'm going to do the 1 minutes. Those are the people that have jumped the queue again. So because you've shared, anybody that shared, your name goes in the box. And because she's paid, anybody that pays, you get into another box, another treasure chest. And what that does is it gives you the opportunity once a month, somebody gets to win 30 minutes with me privately off the air for healing or reading, whichever you choose. So there's opportunities. And I've been looking. So anybody the rest of this month, we're trying something, add something new, which is if you like, whoever's liked the page, okay, then I've been putting your name in the box too. Spirit hasn't told me what we're going to do yet, but we're getting there. All right. So I'm going to go over to the 1 minute rooms or the 1 minute rooms. Okay. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look at Crystal Allen. All righty. Miss Crystal. The way. Okay. So there's a repetitive pattern. And the energy is helplessness. As I'm looking at this pattern of helplessness, it's like, so notice it's an actual feeling, the body gesture, and it's a habit. It's such a habit that I don't even know if you're even aware of. They said you're holding on to and you're running from. How hysterical when people can't self-soothe or self-regulate and that shit just flies out in the air. You had such an experience when you're about 2 years old. And they said that you know this, and they want you to address how when people throw their shit out at you, they want you to hold L1S and sit in that position of that right there, that. And if you can look at it from that direction first, then your brain and the hells to which we're around it should come up on its own. Okay. So we're going to take the next person. And that is Miss Patty. Okay, you're beginning to understand the feelings of being here and diminished of self. And you're starting to realize that it's not about them, it's about how you know yourself. And that how you've created certain situations to feel that diminished self. And they said that you're ready to understand at the sacrum level about who am I safe? You at 4 years old says I'm not safe, therefore it created this particular story. But now you're coming out of it and you're like, but I the diminished feeling that I took the identity on, and I thought that's what I was supposed to hold on to, and there's nothing wrong with it, but you're going to hold L2D because you left wrist second position D, because there's a part of you that's like, oh my God. Okay, this happened, but I want you to notice that it's the after effect where you feel like the body itself and you just feel like drained, diminished your character. You can feel it. I want you to just notice these are snapshots. Oh God, how do I know it? That's what they want you to address. Okay, how do you know it? We're going to go on to Miss April Lynn, accused. They said they want you to notice how you will be in a conversation and you're being your perky self and doing everything else, and you can begin to hear cues of accused of behaving a certain way and how you're not really caring or how you're not just that. And you're like, if I'm holding my own, I'm going to hold this projection. This is what I'm doing. And other people are like, yeah, but, and that yeah, but is what your body wants you to your body. So you're going to hold R3S and you're going to heal the security. Because you're feeling secure, they having insecurity, how you used to communicate with them is different, and they don't know how to change themselves to come in alignment to where you're at, but you know that you left there and going over here, but you can go back there, but you can feel the tug to going back to your old way, and you're like, but I don't want that, and so you've been running, no. So I would say R3S that, because I need you to self-soothe how that part of you was so controlled when people would and you're like, oh, it's that mother impending doom thing. I know you don't want to go back there, and you don't have to, but just heal that little There. Okay, so if there's anybody new in the room, you get to jump the queue. Okay, just so you know, if you're new, you get to jump the queue. You get 2 minutes, but you got to let me know, and then I have to verify that. So now we're going to go over to Nancy Burke. Miss Nancy Burke. And I just want to say thank you, April, for wonderfully inviting others. So Miss Nancy Burke, one of your auto response things has to do with behind the emotion. And you're learning how to have discernment. As you're having discernment, you're learning about it, but I want you to feel this automatic pull that you're supposed to chase. Now, here's the difference between chase. The chasing of what I want is money, and then chasing what I don't want. And they said you're ready to heal the don't wants. And that is L1S, because you put a lot of effort and you're not getting in things in return. And this is where it stops. The process is that you're stuck in what I don't want. And I'm looking at it, I can't stop. They said L3S it. So they want you to look at L3S, because you're like, I want this, I don't want this, but I see that I'm not getting what I want. And so what it does is that it causes you to go into a justification, and they want you to heal that snapshot that's in between. Okay. And then I see someone new. Will Rush, are you new? Let me know, dear, if you're new, then you can get 2 minutes. I can't remember. I'm trying to think. And I have okay. So I'll come back to you in just a moment. We'll find out. And Kelly Hansen, I already gave you one. Lena, Miss Lena. All I can hear is blaming. I'm looking around. It's like it's not something that you would want to do, but there's a part of you that's doing it because that's like the mob of the crowd. And when you're having conversations, all of a sudden you don't realize some of the words actually sound like it's the accusing, and you're doing your best not to do that. So you feel a little petrified. I don't know if you stutter, but you go into this. Is it safe to say, safe to use, and safe to be? And they said, and so you need to stop yourself from going to building false realities, because the ego wants to go, oh my gosh, and contemplate with ego. We want to stop that and nip it in the bud. So little L3D, okay? Get into that and start healing it out. I saw some new people in the room. First one we're going to take is Will Rush. Then we're going to take Rebecca Lang, okay? All right, and we'll go from there. So Will Rush, you get 2. Will Rush. Okay. Oh, I just went into a diminished energy. It's so funny because it reminds me of this. I step in the room, I'm vibrant and all of this, everybody's around me. And then all of a sudden it's like, I'm like faded out, like a TV, like somebody scratched it out. I feel diminished being in this space. I says, can you tell me more? I said, is that accurate? And they said, yes. So they're telling me, they're showing me the cranial aspect, this segment of the body, and it's the 4th one here. And it's the lies that people are just throwing around. And there's a part of you that says, wait a minute, I don't really fit into this anymore. And you're looking to find where your feet are meant to be. Now, you watch, and I'm watching how you see some people are just really hysterical about certain things. And you have learned not to be so moved by that energy, because that energy that people emotionally do used to be like spit and get on you, but you're like, yeah. So you're waking up and you're cracking the code. But you can't help by some people that are sitting there and that don't really have a voice, but they're very discouraged. This one, they said that you recognize. And the people that are discouraged sounds louder than those that are hysterical, is as if they were to project it. And you know what that means. It means that that person feels like an object, a nothing. And there's a part of you that recognizes it because you know this. And you're like, but I don't want to be that ever again. So there's a holding on to. And it happened in relationships. They're asking you to address that holding on to, that I don't ever want to feel this ever again. So you kind of shut off the empathy aspect so that you could heal and grow and move on. And they said that it was fine, but it kind of crowded your mind with sour graping. Look up the word sour grapes, talking. And because then when that occurred, it stopped how the love was received or unreceived. Okay. It created a discombobulation. So I would have you look that up. And if you wanted to go one step further, it'd be L3S. So down here's the third position, nice and soft, not pushing in. Put your finger here, wrap your threes around, put your hand here and drop your hand. And sit in how you know it. Now, Becca, you're so cute in your pictures. Anyways, Becca, here we go, darling. All right, to be or not to be. Okay, so I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee. Won't my mommy be so proud of me? And then if you listen to the rest of the lyrics, which I just discovered, was, you know, ouch, it bit me, squished it and killed it. Oh, won't my mommy be mad at me? So then you're trying to clean it up, lick it off. It's just this stuff, this program. Whether you do right or wrong, it's just the same little pattern. My mom's gonna be mad at me. My mom, you know, is gonna be proud of me. My mom. And they said, let's take and have you do noticing the communication, the talk, the relationship that you've seen, I think, your mother with others. There's like a malevolent type of a frequency that, what are you talking about? It's my power. I mean, you're not using it. I may as well use your will type energy. Oh, this sounds very familiar, Jennifer. But it's your body, and your body says, I really don't know how to respond to that. I see it, I watch it. Yeah, you kind of been quiet, but they said that there's a part of you that's ready to let your dreams come alive. But it's stuck at when you were 4 years old, and you feel like you can't move forward at all. Now, this is what feels like a curse. It's like, don't you dare do that. If you do, here's your consequences. And even in the simplest of rewards and punishment can be awful curse, because if the person believes the energy that comes off the person that's saying it, it can take and hold you in a position that you don't want to be in. Okay. They said start with L1S, left wrist, first position soft. And notice that with everything I said, you've come to a particular party that you have to give up on your expectations. Now you can do them quietly. Don't let anybody see it. It's mine. But that's not where you're supposed to live. You are at a beautiful, beautiful age where you're meant to just start to really bloom. And no more hiding that beauty, okay? No more hiding that part of yourself, because your voice is beautiful. Your voice is actually quite wisdom. I think it's because you have been hanging with Jen. But you can heal this, babe. Will says, thank you for gifting me your time. Thank you for coming into my space and we sharing this together. She's ready to freaking shine. Yes, she is. I mean, the light is so huge. It's like she just has this one hurdle. And once she takes the way that she thinks about it and the way she held it and starts to transform it, you can walk her through the process. She can then all of a sudden stop believing certain things by taking her power back. Okay, anybody else new in the room that I did not read before? I'm going to just check both rooms. We're good. If you happen to be watching me in a, okay. Andrea Frazier, you've had a reading with me. Yes, I recognize the name. Okay, but you've been new on my show. What does that? Yeah, you still apply. I believe that's correct, isn't it? I've never read you on the show. I just read you right at healing. No, it was on the weekend. Oh, yeah, Spirit made me go say, hey, you're doing TikTok. And I'm like, okay. Because I asked Spirit, how can I? And then Spirit told me how to do it. But I haven't given you a reading on the show, so you get one. All right. Here we go. Suspicion, Suspicious. Now, I don't know. I'm looking to see if you're suspicious, but I feel like this is something that you watched and you grew and you're conditioned on, that you have to, ooh, you have to, ooh. And I feel like it's not yours. So it doesn't really fit you, but you understand it. But if this person didn't do that step, not referring to you, but if they didn't do this step, then they would see hysterical results. They would see something bad happen. So it's a protective strategy that you've watched when you were growing up. Okay. And they said that what happens is because you've watched it, they're showing me again, you watched it. It took something and did something with your confidence. I can't be confident. And then when I hear a little bit further, it says, I can't be confident because I'm not allowed. And I said, so you feel like you're not allowed. It's not that your heart would be crushed. No, I'm not really allowed. So basically somebody told you can't do that. You need to take your power back. You need to say, I give myself permission and I take the permission I gave you off. And this is where they want you to heal. And they said, hold L1D, because if you hold L1D, put your hand here, drop, and focus on, hold on, where inside of me did I give you permission? Is it because you're bigger than me? Is it because I believed you and you were like, my God? I don't know, but I take and I no longer, and I want you to feel how it's unhooking. As you're holding this point, I want you to just kind of, then you're going to use a clearing statement. You can get those off my sites. You're going to remove and transcend and let it go. And then you're just going to feel it. And as you get, then you're going to say, wait a minute, I uncreate, I destroy this times a gazillion. Or I uncreate and destroy all that times a gazillion. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all 9 shorts, boys, beyond. And just keep your hand there and do these extra things, because you can start combining different healing tools, okay? That way you don't ever have to get really bored. Okay, so now we're going to go to Autumn. Miss Autumn. Oh, wow, my whole face. Hold on. I feel like my right side, Autumn, has gotten really tense. I mean, I just feel like my nerve is really tight on my face. It's like something's going on, and I feel like I want to bend backwards. Okay, so this is our power side. And I said, why is this happening? And they said it has to do with feeling a curse, feeling how somebody, like if somebody was yelling and you see all the spit on their mouth, and it's just like, wow, they're really vivid here. And what that vision, what that did to you was take your kidney meridian that goes from the bottom of your feet, comes up on the inside here, and it caused you to, the polarity is still correct, but what it did was cause your meridians, some of them, how many? 4 of them, to go backwards. It means they no longer had support. You still have the polarity, but they've gone backwards. And what I'm going to tell her, because I can feel her body, is that you have to learn how to trace them forwards. Okay. Now your triple warmer has gone backwards. And normally with triple warmer, yeah, see, yours is completely frozen. And I said, is energy moving in that at all? And it is no. So you're going to have to, normally with triple warmer, we take and we sedate it. But what you're going to have to do in this case is just see what happens. You have been so used to your body being compensated in this fashion that when you start to correct it, it may feel wrong or funny or herxing type of thing, or the healing crisis, but take it slow. If you draw it one way, you can do it the other. Now, don't mess with the heart except for to draw it in the correct direction. The rest of them you can play with. So in this case, because I don't feel like it's moving, then I'm going to tell you to start, because this is where your triple warmer is, and you're going to first tap that little point, just kind of right there, and then you tap that about 10 times, and then you're going to come up. Now, I would tell you all these other little secrets about it, but in this case, I'm just going to have you come up, and you can see what direction. Wow, they're making me stop. Why? Okay, so then they want me to come up, and you can come forward. Oh, I see. They don't want mine to get activated. Now, if it feels uncomfortable, then you go backwards. See, I've got to fix mine. So I need mine to come back into alignment. Do that both sides. The other one that's going the wrong way is the lung. So normally the lung is running backwards. So you have to start with number 1. If you look it up, Donna Eden is best for this because she has a really detailed, like a picture. So it'll be here. So I would always like rub that first point. And then take your whole hand and go up and down because it goes very specific and off the thumb. Now, when you get here, I would rub this and pull. Okay, do both sides. All right. And then they said with the gallbladder. Now the gallbladder has to, it's huge. So you're going to have to look this up. But the first point, you know, you just want to get in there and rub it. And then you come down and up and then forward and then back and then forward and then back and then come along to the middle of your shoulders. Then you're going to trace down next to your breast. And it's a big area. And then you're going to come down, let's see, where else? Come down along the seams of your pants, down off to getting on top of your ankle. Again, look at the picture, and then it'll be off your 4th toe. That can be a difference. And then your 4th one. Okay, so this one is the pericardium and the circulation sex meridian. So you're going to, I can't remember which way that one is. Towards the thumb is where you're going to hit that point. So towards the thumb, that's how you know the side to do it on. Okay, and once you do that, then you're going to draw. No, we don't want to go that way, do we? No, we don't. This one is confused. Your meridian here is confused. So how do I remember this one? Nip to tip. Literally, here's my nip. I come up over and I go down the middle. I come up over, nip to tip. So when I'm drawing this, and I usually do them forward 3 times, and then you're going to just, now they're saying, if I ask Spirit, do you want her to do both sides? They said no. They said mainly everything's on the right. They said be very more specific about the right. Try the right side first, see what happens, because the communication link, we may have to look at another time. Okay. Ooh, Kelly said, I criticized my 6-year-old. The criticized 6-year-old is linked to self-conscious and self-esteem than self-worth. Yes. And I will tell you, self-esteem will feel just like depression. There's a big key for you. Andrea says, thank you so much. Makes sense when I look back at my childhood. See, and this is the thing. Everybody thinks that they've grown and then they'll tell you all their stories. But if you can hear it, you've lost the energy. Now, why can I tell you my stories? Because I took this vibration like this, and I used my hells and my healing tool and the innate wisdom, and it healed it out. What did that do? It allowed the vibration to, and the emotion was taken off the memory, and the memory just becomes a memory, and it doesn't own me anymore. I can go back and I'm like, oh, I recognize that. Now, if I start to feel anything like any loss, I'm going to heal it. That's like your biggest clue right there. Her stroke is that way only on one side. Oh, really? She had a stroke. Which side, left or right? Be very curious. All right, and then looking over here, anybody else in this room over here? And again, if you're in one of the tribes or groups, and if you ask for it, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to see it, but you can come to the main page. Remember to like my page. Remember to get notified. That's going to help you out a great deal. I'm looking to make sure that if there's anybody else that I may have missed. I think we're good on that. Left, I believe. Okay, well, then she needs to be working on the right. To some reason, they said right, because, see, at first they wanted me to do both, and they said no, she really has got to concentrate on the right. So the coupling link that goes between, because if you draw a line down you have a left and a right. Now we can say this is yin and we can say this is yang, but in energy, when it comes to meridians, the left and the right need to eventually speak. But if the coupling factor is not working, then we have to address this. But if it's not the coupling, but it happens to be just the story, like the right has to do with, I've got the power. But if you're going to have a stroke, it has a lot to do with, I'm just going to check myself out. I don't want to play this character anymore. How fast can I leave this planet? Okay, but if you didn't do a full-on stroke, okay, your brain and your nerves can repair themselves so that, look at Jill Bolte Taylor. I mean, by all rights, there's no way that how healthy she looks today, that she should ever be that. She's an amazing woman. I think it was a stroke of insight. Okay. I just finished you, Autumn. I just was talking about you because they just shared with me that you had a stroke. Okay, there was a part of her that did not want to come in and didn't want to come in. And you got to understand that if we can get the energy of the body, because I asked, I said, did this whole thing, did she create this? Now, don't take offense to what I'm saying. It's just ego's way of getting. If we can create something, we can uncreate it. So the reason I'm asking was, did it come in with a DNA link or the false file or whatever you call those things? And they said, did it come in? It says it was marked. A marker usually means that it was there, but it's something we can undo. Okay, so when you take and start learning healing stuff from me, you're going to hear all these little tiny details. It's hard to teach it in one time, but it's linked to how your spinal cord. Okay, so the spinal cord has what's called metameres. These are called somite segments, like a worm. You know how worms have segments? They can work independently or they can work together. And I'm just going to go a little bit further because spirit, again, this is not favoritism. This is something spirit likes to do, is talk about juicy stuff. So Autumn, if she was born this way, she was a newborn. Why would that happen? And they said there was an underdevelopment of energy. And I said, underdevelopment? You mean you have to develop energy? They go, no, we have to say it that way. I says, well, tell me why. Well, the marker from her past life, and that past life story is, I don't deal with people. I don't know how to deal with people. I don't know how to deal with others. And it's a very strong ass statement. Okay, so her marker kicked off when she was born, and it was a test. And it was like, nope, I still believe it. I cannot deal with people. Okay, so I said, what's the earmark of those meridians that, because it's not the strange flows. The strange flows created you before you started to create the somites, before you created the segments in your spine. And they said, so it started off when you began to be the tailbone. Okay, so we're always the asshole first when we're developing. So it started off with that segment of I am safe. So as it started to develop, they said that the right side of the yang part of the body that says, this is how I'm going to move forward in life. This is how I'm going to bring in life. This is how I move forward in life. Your body says, yeah, hell no, I don't want to deal with people. So that energy, okay, so I'm going to ask you what part of the brain had the stroke, is what I'd like to know. I'm assuming it's the opposite. If they said it was, I read it wrong. They said the left side would be, so that'd be the right part of the brain. The right part of the brain is intuition. The right part of the brain is as if you were told that left brain is like, and physically be here. I do not have to be connected with spirit, blah, blah, blah. The right brain is like, I'm so connected to spirit, and here is this. But here's another story that happens with the two halves. The left brain goes into, the right brain is like, okay, everything's so cool. I got the answer. I understand it. But if they're too separate, they're not going to communicate. So if the stroke happened on the right side, you are basically told that you need to be more ego. And this, when I watch people when they are sweet as pie, but then they'll have the right brain completely. Now your body can rewire circuits and things like this. Now we don't put a time limit. You don't have to. You have to move energy. But you have to repair, grow, and work with yourself. People want instantaneous, but that's not how this works. You can have instantaneous, but you are consciousness that plays in a dimensional realm. And you have to work with some of these laws. Okay. And once you find the rhythm of it, you will then have this flow that can be undeniable. You can move mountains. All right. So I feel like you were supposed to experience how you are meant to be left brain, and that you can only be rational and logical. And that could have been the first so many years of your life. Now you're using spirit. You're opening up. You are listening. And people can be born without a brain. And it's the brainstem communication. What I'm seeing is if she starts to correct that flow and develop her consciousness through your spiritual aspect, you're going to be able to fire and wire different information. So the body says, hold on. You mean I don't have to be that? Because it's your nervous system. Because if you can get yourself to shift your waves of thinking and move into different perspectives and different, allowing yourself to become thought instead of physical. What happens is your nervous system can reset itself. The nervous system can allow. Now, am I guaranteeing? Am I saying it's a cure? No. I'm saying these are options that are on the table for every single human being. But if you're thinking this isn't going to work for me, understand you're right, because your energy has been invested in that belief. It is also now set as your GPS. This is what's going to be every time. But you can take your power off that. You can change the way that your emotions vibrate in and out of existence by taking your power off that belief, by changing that belief, to allowing yourself to say, okay, but you got to do something else. And that's called skill build. And that is communicating with that part of spirit that is so undeniable, that it comes from source, that it won't freak your brain out. Well, let me explain something about the brain. A marvelous piece of thing here. Your brain only knows how to hallucinate this world. And it's based on information you feed it and program it, your files, your experiences, your emotions, all of these. That if your brain were to see its next best guess would be associations. Oh, so you look over and you're like, snake! Because you lead with fear. Or you don't lead with fear, you lead with love. You're like, oh, rope. But if you lead with your authentic self, you won't have to lose anything. You're going to go, oh, why did I need to see it like that? So you're developing a new third option to be. And your brain, now, the more information I give it, the more that I'm working with my spirit, that I am intuition part informed, I can learn to live it, breathe it, walk it, talk it, and dream it. And I can be at a different space to see and hear. And I've trained my brain to be that authentic self, to be more than just this, that, or the other. You can have that integrated aspect of yourself, if that makes any sense. It's very important that you allow yourself that space to grow, that space to be. Okay? It's up to you. It's up to you. Now, just let that sit for a moment, that the more information new that you feed the brain, the more it'll grow. The more old information that you keep feeding it and repeating it, you're doomed to keep repeating it, then you're not going to grow. You got to create an evolution. And it's just to think stuff you don't know what to think. Well, that is where you start to employ that I am intuition part, and you learn this integration, that you allow yourself to see beyond just your physical rods and cones of your eyes. You can become this intuition. You can allow yourself to speak and to hear. Okay? I need to refresh my messages. First, I got to get the right page. Which, golly, where did I do it? All right, Spirit. I may have to get another device just so I can see. That'll get really talented. Yes, it's funny. That is what I think about what you say, or you say. Okay. So we have newbies in the room. You can get a 2-minute right now. You just have to say, I'm new. Okay. Okay. So I've been looking for, oh, funny you say that. Okay. So we're going to take, and then Amy here has a headache. So Amy, what I want you to do is that I want you to hold L2D, because there was something. Oh, that's all gone? Oh, that was an hour ago. What are you telling me to refresh my? Oh, Teresa. No, I don't know. Okay, so we got to get into the right alignment. Miss Teresa P. Here you go, darling. Hold on. There's some awkwardness. It's funny, it's not in here. Your legs are saying, I feel awkward. And I said, how come you're not connected? What is it? Body, mind, and spirit? They're all separate. The nerves are saying that there's an aggression, and I can't let that go. So let me see, where does this aggression sit? It says that it's sitting in the legs. Now it's interesting because it's coming off the hips, not the spine. I said, well, how is that so? And they said, well, when you look at the nerves that come off, so you're talking about not primary, but secondary. Okay. It was secondary. And I said, so we're going to look at secondary. And I said, is this more of a dermatome? They said, no, look at how the aggression. Okay. So you're ready to start noticing how your body does the readjust. So you're going to say, thank you, Spirit, for bringing in to knowing. And this is a deeper thought of how you go to talk to somebody. And I want you to say, thank you, Spirit, for showing me when I readjust. Make it so that I understand it's coming from Spirit. You need to tune into that. And when you start to do it and you're like, holy crap, I am doing that, because that's how I work with socialism, or talking socially, then you're going to hold R1S. Okay. And I'm curious now, Autumn, what do you mean? It's funny you said that. And your head is still weird. Okay, so Autumn, I want to hear more back from you. Amy, your headache has to do, and they said hold L2D, because for some reason you kind of had an OMG and you lost power. And they said that, let's see, go back how many minutes? About 2.5 hours ago, because you had met up with one of your curses that somebody has said, you can't do that, Amy. And I said, what age were you felt that? About 7 years old. And you're still corded to this woman. Is it a woman? It's corded to the frequency. So it's not even about a human. It's about the frequency. I said, could you tell me the frequency she's corded to? F. She's corded to F. And she's corded to that frequency. So use your healing tool on the cords and take and look at F and understand the relationship is alarm. The relationship is alarm. So in this case, it's not even human. It's just a frequency. So Autumn, did anything I said, did it make sense to you? Tell me a little bit more, because it sounds like you had an epiphany or something there. I'm looking into the other rooms. If you happen to be in the Medicine Woman Solution, AKA Metaphysical group, okay, Metaphysical Tools with Brenda. If you happen to be in there, I want to see, because if you respond, I'm going to give you something. Okay, I want to see if there's anybody I haven't read in there, somebody that hasn't come, if you're new in there. I mean, you've been in here, you've been in there, come and like the group. If you haven't liked the group, then join. You can join the group. That one's free. Okay, it helps as a secondary reminder. Thor, how you doing, darling? Okay. Oh, Will says mine makes sense. Thanks for, okay, you are welcome. You are welcome. See, I don't want you just taking information in. I want you to tap into that ability that you all have. I can do it. I know you can. Thank you, Spirit, for showing me all these little things. Thank you, Spirit. So Deborah Horton. Let's see. Have I read Deborah Horton before? My brain, I'm in so much in trance mode or channel mode that she sounds familiar, but you know what? She just reminds me of like lilies, orange daylilies. No, that's not what they are. I see all these plants that have these beautiful growths, and they're more of a tropical plant that has these orange flowers that come off. What in the heck is your picture? Just curious. I don't think I can get into. No, I can't. Is that what you have as a picture? Is that what I just read as your picture and didn't even know it? I can't see. Crap. Please verify it, because all of a sudden all I see is these flowers. Is that a flower? Oh, well, that's hilarious. Yes, you read here. When you see visions in sleep state, how do you stop that? Okay, well, since we talked about that a little bit more, you have to decide and define what is the visions, or what are these visions? Orange stars at Bethlehem. That's interesting. So they really are pointing out these flowers. I'm gonna have to look that up. And now that Spirit's got my attention, I have to ask, what's going on? They said, all right. You know what's interesting is how Spirit wants me to do something that I've never done in a long time. I've got all these cool cards. Oh, Jen asked, oh, so sorry, sweetheart. Oh my God. If you're like I said, if you want a 1 minute and you haven't got, yes, ask away. Jen. Oh my darling, yes. Oh, you so waited such a long time. I'll give you 2. Miss Jen. Oh, wow. It's weird. I see half a filter. Oh, Thor asked 2. Okay, half a filter. I can't see which half, but one half is really learning to be discernment. And guess what? It doesn't scare the creeps out of you. You're like, but because someone else is getting it and on board with you on your language of speaking, you don't have to keep acting like a 12-year-old. Your 12-year-old says, hey, don't call me out. And I said, well, hold on. Well, why are you standing here then? The 12-year-olds want you to understand that you have a chase. And I says, tell me more. And he says, well, my nerves, I feel incompatible. And because I feel incompatible, I make relationships incompatible because I don't want to feel compatible. Why? Because I feel if I have a relationship, it's going to be cursed, like my, and they're going to say, let you fill in the blank. They says, because nobody knew how to deal with others. I I'm like, I can see you standing there. You're like, a mouse, and your feet are bouncing up and down. And it's like, I don't want to deal with others. I don't want to deal with others. So I make it easier to not have relationships. But the problem with that is you want a relationship and you're ready to deal with others. But that part of you said, I'm holding on to how I don't want to deal with others. They're saying R3D because you have a vivid recall. They said, if you took your piece of artwork and you said, thank you, Spirit, for the vivid recall, and just start to do automatic drawing, see what the symbol comes up so you can look for a metaphysical meaning, okay? And then allow yourself to notice that you don't have to feel suspicious. And when you start to feel suspicious, do L3S. And when you start to feel that erratic behaviors start to come up in you, which is an irrational fear, hold L2D. Oh, well, Thor, if she wants one, Deborah, did you see the offer Thor had? Okay, so what are we doing? We're picking up cards. So I'll read you in just a second, Thor, because for some reason, we've got cards. Oh, so Deborah, you're called of the call of the muse. There's a part of you that is meant to start to develop in your wisdom. And you are meant to learn how to hear spirit completely different. So in this case, they're telling me that you're looking for a way to be inspired spiritually and to look for the muse to awaken. And then you have kind of I've been using an ego. This is for Deborah. You're kind of using your ego, intuition, ego intuition. And they're saying it cuts off your ears and that you're meant to kind of like open them up again. And I said, well, how do you want her to open them up? She probably doesn't even know it's closed. And they said, well, if she ended up holding R1S, because R1S is there's a certain pattern and that you're kind of doing a karmic debt. Maybe that's what we're going to be talking about. Jennifer says, thank you. I was going to ask about my attraction factor, but you answered. Awesome. Thank you, Spirit, for alignment. That's what we like. That's what we like right there. Let's see. We have newbies. Oh, wait, that's wrong. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, so learning how to commute in all these levels. I got you. Now, let's see here. Shetty. That's definitely a new person that just walked in, but I'm not connecting. I mean, it's not that I can't connect, whatever. There's energy being pulled in this one direction. And it's like, I don't really need to do that. So we have somebody on that's paid. Let me just get this. And then I forgot, do we can blah, 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 blah. Deborah, can we use phone again? I think if you're the one I'm thinking of, then I send the link. I think so. Yes, no, yes. We can do it like this. Oh, all right. So I feel so weird. I can't describe it. I don't know if I'm just picking up information so that it helps me understand the karmic debt thing. I don't know. All right, Deborah, I don't have you as a link, so you may have to contact me, but you may not know how to do that. You know, you just go to my fan page and hit message, and then you can chat with me. I see that you've been in the rooms before. I don't know if I can get there. Oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can do it that way. Yes, we had you join the meeting that way before. So it's up to you if you'd like to do it. I'm going to send it directly to you. I found a way to do it. And so look at your personal space. I think Messenger is what's called. Yes, we want to thank Thor for Pay It Forward for her friend. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Thor, for everybody's going to get something out of this. And I love the fact that we're able to do that. I got to get out of that screen and see what happens. Now, while I'm waiting, I'm going to have to use the little girls' room. So I'm going to put this up. Be right back. There we go. I'm back. Yes. Oh. Okay. You have a good night and heal yourself, Jennifer. And thank you for bringing Becca on. It was nice to meet her again, energetically, but have her shine. It's very important. All of you guys have amazing voices, and you're at your different levels and stages of being who you are. And I think that's awesome. You can do this. You can be waking up in different stages. And if you're not ready for some information, that's okay. And then and just know that keep growing into that state that's going to allow you to become something more. Because it's this or something else, right? Ooh, overwhelming sadness, if that's connected to the headache. Becca, nice to meet you again too. Yes, I remember, I think the last time that I saw you was when Jen had rented that space to do the church. I think that was when. And you remind me, your beautiful, precious face reminds me of my daughters. So every now and then I'll look at Jen's page and I'll see your face and I'm like, oh, I want to talk to my daughter. And then my daughter like, yeah, what's up, Mom? Are you being mushy again? Yes. Oh, that's all right. That's all right. There used to be a TV show and they had a little boy on it and he was just the cutest thing. It was in the innocent stage. Looked nothing like my son, but it was the innocent stages. And it just reminded me of the joy I had when my son was at the innocent stage. And it was just incredible. And so every now and then when I want to go back to visit a memory to really get in that state, all I have to do is watch that show when he was a little boy and like, oh, and then it just like brings back such rushing memories that how my little boy was so amazing. He's an amazing man now, but I mean, wow, the cherished memories. Hey, Janet, how you doing? You want to, while I'm waiting for, are we having problems here? She's looking. I can give you 1 minute. Janet, I'll give you 1 minute. How about that while we wait? Okay. Miss Janet or Janae, however you go. Repressed. They're showing me a repressed pride. It's like, you know, you're proud of yourself, but you have to redefine it because some people told you there's an old belief system that, hey, you're not supposed to be too prideful. And then people get their pride hurt and there's wounded pride and there's all of these things. But I think you're supposed to zero in on how you are doing something and you should be proud of that. And no more needing to hide it, because it's like when somebody would be sour-graping, you hid your beauty, you hid that part of yourself and you caused to readjust. And you started doing that about age 13. But now that you're older, yeah, time to heal that out. And if you wanted to, you could end up holding R1D and heal out how you have to have remorse for who you are, or the yearning to what I want to be, or the self-imposed limitation. This is I can't. Okay, so right wrist, first position, nice and deep. And so you put your hand here and you let it drop. You can heal it out, measure it, measure it, measure it. Let's see how we're doing. I don't know if that's necessary. Let me see here. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, let's see here. Now, if they ask for a password, a code, if they ask for it. Well, on this show, we love to pay it forward. We love to give. Well, Miss April, Miss Thor, did I end up giving you a reading? I don't know. I'm going to give you another one while we're waiting. Miss Thor, I want you to take that blah. And it's a form of way that you're tattling, the way that you tattle with yourself. And it says that it's about how old programs, and it's like, this is how my nerves felt a while back. And this has to do with the idea is that it's a clue. So this blah is trying to tell you that I don't have the strength to feel gumption, and I feel indifferent. And they said this, I don't want to feel helpless. And they said, but you can actually heal the blah. And that is hold the L2D, because you're like, and on the keyword is love is used as a weapon, and little gnats bothering you. So these love or these things can interfere with how you receive love, how you are loved. And you can't bring someone into your space right now because you have this phobia and this fear that if I love them, they're going to fucking die or leave me. L2D it. Okay? L2D it. Time to get over that hump. L2D it. Because you should be able to hear. Oh, okay, Deborah, we can do it like this. We can do it like this. That's fine, sweetheart. So let me shrink this down, open this up, and then I'll just do it like this. And then I'll do my best, because I think we have such a big ass leg time, but I will keep looking up. If you respond, I'll do my best. Okay. Before we start, was there anything specific that you wanted to talk about, Deborah? That way we can go a little bit further. And Thor, and you thought you could get away with not getting this love from me, but I love you, and you got your reading. Haha. Have Geek Squad coming over Wednesday. Okay. All right. Yay. Thanks, Spirit, for taking care of it. But in the meantime, what would you like to chat about? Okay. We can make a major difference just like this. We really can. Okay. All right. So now I'm just going to start and I'll look up. All right. All right, so they're saying that this blaming has to do with going to this karmic debt. What does blaming have to do with karmic debt? And they're saying in this case, there's a story, and I'm going to look at the sacrum. So we're looking at the metamirror story. So this story is in this segment down here in the sacrum, something to do with the right side of the hip. So it's secondary nerves, is that you want to feel like, I want to run forward. But I can't. And I feel like you didn't finish off that particular healing we did last time with that really bad thing that happened to you down there and all over. But you have moved mountains a little bit, so you haven't really released all of that. But with that particular story that's happening, it is created a mark. And this mark has to do with, there is no way in hell I'm ever going to feel secure again. And you're holding it. And I said, well, what can we do to help her heal so that all of this can start to change? And they said, notice that the chase. And I said, so what is it that she doesn't want to let go of? And it has to do with self, or what are you pointing to? Just, okay. Well, my body's responding because it's like, you rewrote this, whatever was going on in your life, you rewrote it so that it had to do with your moral character of yourself. You had to rise and become something different, which is okay. But it created a chase. You're holding on to, and now you're chasing a certain thing. And your soul says that it felt like it needed to experience what self-abuse is. So understand that by holding on to, and the body's holding on to the thing that happened to you, which was real and was scary, and it knocked your security out of the way, but it came to be a self-abuse now, because it's time moves on. It's like when somebody holds a mood swing and they're like, why are you so mad? And it's like, because it happened 6 months ago. 3 years later, why are you so angry? Well, this thing happened 3 years ago, but it's the same thing. It's like it becomes your temperament. And so this part of this self-abuse, you don't even know that by remembering it, it's creating a self. And then by remembering it, creates the abuse. So you're firing and wiring it into the body even further. And the body says, you're ready to start to release a little bit at the hip area. I said, okay, what are you willing to release? And they said that I couldn't stop it. I couldn't change it. I feel helpless and hopeless. And so when you feel helpless, it means that you feel like you can't do anything. But when you allow yourself to feel that you're, to define what hopelessness is, okay, does that mean you feel like there's no light to get out of the darkness? It's a feeling of despair, a lack of. And we need to turn that candle back on. We need to turn that light so that you can understand that when you see a flame, it can't cast a shadow, but it can call you home. It can help you come out of that state of despair and darkness. And they said that there's a part of you that's ready, but you don't want to give up the coping tools that you use to cope with because of that horrifying experience that you had. And the dumping of that energy caused you to contract your energy. And they're really looking at this. And I said, okay. And they said, well, to help you cope, handle, and deal, you use just your ego mindset for that experience. And you have been growing in leaps and bounds with your intuition, but your ego is going, I am not letting this go. And I said, well, what else can we do then? And they said, notice that the rehashing. So this is where you'll hold L3S, nice and soft. And you're going to notice that the rehashing, you feel that if you rehash what had happened, then you're going to keep yourself safe. But if you're going to rehash, start doing this, because you are going to start taking out the tracks that keep getting laid down. And then when you start to pull those out, then all of a sudden the light can come on, and then you can call yourself home. Aha. It takes it to bolt, doesn't give place to give code. Okay, gotcha. That's your phone. Okay. So hopefully you're getting this information, Deborah, because I am talking about you here. So it's like all the efforts that you did to free yourself from that horrifying experience was just that it was efforts were unreceived. And we got to get you past that belief system that you can't save yourself. And you just know how to readjust. Now, we want you to readapt. We want you to adapt, which has become a new variant. So like one of the things that locked me down after that happened to me was, and this was years later, so you're talking about 13 to 30 something, I've been carrying, I don't want this to happen again to me, this rape, I don't want to happen again to me. And Spirit then had a karate instructor, it was my son's, he came over to me and he also said to me, well, it looks like you're holding on to something you're ready to release. And I said, yes, I am. But can you? No, you can't. My belief was, no, you can't. This is what happened. So I whisper in his ears because there's too many kids. And he says, oh, we so can help you release this. And I said, well, how so? Well, can you tell me, reenact certain things without, that you're okay with? And I said, yes. So mine was the wrist issue and then feeling powerless. And so then he showed me and reenacted, and he showed me that I had the power within me. I just couldn't figure out how to do it. I kept rehashing, couldn't figure out how to stop it. He says, do this one act of your physical body, stepping into this way it was happening, and stop being afraid to fight back. And see, the thing is over time, I realized I couldn't. My mother told me I couldn't fight back because it was wrong. I'm a bigger girl than everybody else. And that actually stunted me to look around that I can be a MacGyver And that is look around for things that I can use to get myself out of it. And that was part of my arrested development. And so when I took that action, my mind freed up that said, you don't have to take it anymore. And so now I want you to notice that if you feel like you're frozen, and you're frozen, but what you're doing is you're rehashing and you're thinking, and when you do that, you start creating another reality, another timeline that you don't need. And so if you were to hold L3S and think about all the things you want but you can't have, and so you sour-grape talking, and so the sour-graping causes you to link back into this where you can't. So they said that you're willing to go there right now to help you heal that. So you're going to hold the L3S, okay? Yes, I would totally understand how you just wanted to jump out of that moment. But because you're still here, let's take your power back and get the wisdom so that you can grow out of that moment, creating that third option. See, I was tested the other day. So we're on our 8K walk, and normally I was like, I always have to obey and to not be rude and manners, that I was in, we were walking and I was in part of the plaza, and I accidentally made eye contact with this woman, but it was such a split second, but she knew it was eye contact. And so then in her mind, and I think she was homeless. I'm not homeless. No, that's a different energy. This was, what can I get? And so instead of just asking like other people do, it is, so I was like, my body said, no, you don't have to be good manners, and you don't have to, you don't have to. And so then all of a sudden I pulled my eyes away, and my body went into this routine of protecting itself that I didn't hear. And now normally you don't do that. You do not be rude. And I realized that was part of the program. My heart started to beat really bad, but my body was like, you don't have to do this, dear. You don't have to answer her. You do not have to, you don't let her, stop letting that voice. I mean, it was a deep, hey, yeah. I mean, I could feel it hit me in the back of the head. But my body was saying, she's not your mother. She's not your teacher. She's not the woman that, she's not your sister. She's not. So puff out your aura. What if she didn't exist? And there's some energies you just don't have to hook into. See, Deborah, part of your body is ready to let that go, but you have to be able to feel like you can achieve the thing you couldn't achieve in the moment. And that's part of the skill building that I refer to. And I did achieve certain levels that I did it. Now, I'm not asking to reoccur that, but I know that I could do it. I know that I could, step up. I can do it. But I took care of the root of the little girl that said that I can't see any other way than this. And in order for me to go out there and to do what I'm doing, you're asking somebody that was totally an introvert, couldn't speak, and I spoke so softly, couldn't understand what I said. And it was, my energy was always sucked in, and I don't want to be seen. And I have all of these excuses and reasons and stories and things but I didn't need it to own me. And so part of my skill building was to see how it owned me and release that emotion, but also skill build so that I didn't have to keep repeating it. So again, heal out the stories. What emotions are you willing to let go of? Because your body is saying, we're ready to restart here, here, and here. And then slowly, as we start to heal this, you're going to create a relationship with yourself of trust that's going to allow yourself to get more into your higher authority, the higher consciousness part of you. Instead of letting your fears control the visions, your authentic self will control them. And what happens with that is that you will learn how to resolve, involve on the level of dream state. so that you will really begin to heal mind, body, spirit, which is your soul. You'll literally learn how to do it. Now, if there's anybody in the room that I've missed, let me know. And if there's anybody else, now April's name gets to go into the drawing, so she gets a chance to win a 30-minute free with me. And thank you, Deborah, for letting me come into your space. And I didn't invade her space. What I mean by coming into her space is allowing us consciously to come at a meeting space to communicate. That was it. I don't believe in invading anybody's space. I could help her many ways, but that's all about a different healing thing. And that was one of the things I was discussing with my friend Amy this morning, was like, ethically, how do we do things? On another level, how do we allow ourselves, because this, everybody's telling you that you have to proxy them, you have to be in their space. But what if they're doing something that you don't want them to do? What if you feel, now this is one of the things that I've always felt weird about, was like, do they know how to break energy? Are they stuck with me? Is my energy going to control them? Is their energy going to control me? This is gross. I don't like germs. So there's a part of me that is like, it's not that I don't trust, it's just that I can feel the different frequencies. And I've learned how to do barriers and healthy boundaries. And it's not that I don't have trust issues. It's just that if you're coming from a different perspective and it's not aligned with me, do I need it to influence me, to change me into your belief system? And this came again when I had a woman that was very good with her abilities, but her belief systems, her nature of being human really sucked. Everything was negative, everything was evil, everything was bad. and I loved my mother-in-law, and I still do, even though she's on the other side. I still do, mama. But the reading was incredible, but she was telling me the bits and pieces that she got was because I hated my mother-in-law, and that I'm going to get divorced, and it's because of this, and da 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 da, and how you need to fight back. And I'm like, excuse me. She goes, no, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. You need to go and face up the fact you don't like her. And I'm like, and then I went home going, what if she's right? Spirit goes, wake up. That's her opinion. Her opinion. Now, there's truth in what she said. But man, was it wrapped into her reality, her experiences, her opinions. Consider the source. I said, so what truth do I need to pull out of that? And they said, okay, you're going to argue with your husband, and it's going to be over the mother-in-law. I wonder what it's about. And when it came to pass, I was like, yeah, why is it you jump when your mom calls? When I ask for help, you don't. Oh, so I had to address that healing. Okay, but it didn't mean it had to be divorce. And there were, she's, oh, you're going to end up in a shack, and you're going to be poor, and you're going to be homeless, and it's going to be cold. And I was like, what? There would be no way that the man that I was married to is going to treat his kids that way. He doesn't give a rat's ass about me. Yeah, he probably wouldn't. But it's my responsibility, not his. And so then we had it was snowy, it's in Michigan, and we had a schoolhouse that I asked my father-in-law. I was going to make it myself. He goes, no, I'll do it for you. And so we got tired of freezing just freezing and standing out there in the cold and letting, and we would stand because we were the last to get on. And it was so freaking cold. And sometimes when the bus would get stuck or couldn't come through, that would be like, you're talking almost an hour. And because it had a long driveway going back to the house, you would be missing it. So he built the shack. It's not pretty on the inside. It's just a bunch of wood put together, but he, kept us warm. It had no heater in it, but it kept the cold out. It's those nippy freezing ones. And I was sitting in there with my kids, and all of a sudden I hear Spirit going, how was your shack, baby? And I'm like, there's the threaded truth. She saw the glimpse of the vision. But then she was trying to say it was because I was divorced and da 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 and blah 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 blah. And it's like, whoa, always consider the source. listen to your authentic self. Get communication with the trust of your higher self. It is not about whether you trust people or don't trust people. People come to me and they think, oh, you think like an ego person. And then it's like, you don't know me very well, do you? Because I really don't do that. I did, but that ain't me. I know my authentic self. I know what is the nature of me. And it's not that. So you have to really decide how you want to live your life. And if you let other people's opinions persuade you, create your reality for you, you will then be jumping timelines and going into other people's timelines and built of their realities with their faults. Real for them, but faults for you. And you need to get back onto your timeline and stop being persuaded by these energies. Heal those out so that you don't have to be the trickers and the victims of that particular persuasion. You can change all this. You literally can allow yourself to rise. Be in a state where you can be something other than. And you don't have to be victim to, if that makes any sense at all. But you are incredible beings. Because you're being an incredible being, you can choose something other than this, that, or that. You can choose to rise. I don't know how else to explain that. And that's where Thor's at. She's learning to rise. She doesn't have to do this. She's learning to rise. She's learning to be more her. She's learning. So when people are in your space or anything this, you can do peanut butter healing tool, which is I have. You can do Celtic wave. You can do connecting heaven and earth and the hookup. And this will kick people out of your space. Like, good, you're ready. Because when you had enough's enough, you'll be noticing you'll be focusing on yourself every day, not on your health. I'm going to define it. I'm going to use a tool. I'm going to kick it out. I'm no longer going to waste it. I no longer need to do that. So when I'm working with you, I'm working on a meeting field. And like right now, whoever's left in the room, whoever wants to play, you have to decide if you want to connect up to this energy grid. Okay? If you're going to do that, then what's going to happen is I'm going to just tune in and read here. We're going to a meeting place where we don't have to invade each other's spaces. Okay? So you're just going to connect there. You're going to give yourself permission to connect there. And what we're going to do is that I'm looking at the mirror. I'm like, what do you want to heal? And they said, well, a lot of it has to do with certain types of emotion. I says, well, what do you want me to do? And they says, yeah, they want me to have you all look at how you felt disapproved of. Some people, if you never felt disapproved of, but you disapprove of them, you're going to now measure that, whichever you choose. And you can leave the comment. So which one do you choose? I know what disapproval feels like, 0 to 10, or I know when I disapprove of others, 0 to 10. And then play with me, write it down, put it in the room. And we will show you something. You don't need people to come in your space, and you don't need this. As long as your higher consciousness are meeting and greeting on that plane, that level of existence, then you are agreeing that your higher consciousness is going to do the healing for you. Okay, so she knows both. Okay, so Miranda's playing. Anybody else who wants to play, you can. Okay, I know what disapproval feels like. 6, good. Will's playing. Again, look at it. This is how, and if you happen to know it, I want you to notice which eye direction you're going into. And if you happen to know it, so look at how you're looking at it. If your eyes are drifting to the right, then you say eyes right. Or if your eyes are drifting to the left, eyes left. If you feel like they're up or they're down or just straight ahead, let me know. Because the more details you understand something, and then when we go to do this particular part of the healing. Now, I can do it several ways. I can have you do something But I think what we're going to do is I'm going to do something, and we're going to notice how the entanglement cord effect is going to start working. So Miranda says she looks left up. So that tells me that it's about a remembrance. So we're going to tap in one of her files of how she remembers it to be real. And Will says the same thing, up to the left. Okay. That tells me that you have, and you know, this is how you know it. Okay. So now ask yourself, how do I know this? How do I know this? As you're doing this, now normally I would walk you through something in particular, but we're going to do something different. Okay. Now, no, your body's addicted to this chemical peptide and this behavior, this knowing. Okay. Thor's bottom left. Okay. When it's in the bottom left, that is about how you are having the dialogue, your internal dialogue, your self-talk. Okay. And Miranda can feel the left middle. So this is where sometimes you go into, this is how I have to have my filter. Okay. So it's, you know, and this, how do you hear? How do you hear? How do you hear? So in her mind, she's hearing things, but it is the past. Now we're going to notice that we're addicted to this end result. And the end result is the end game. And so it ends up being in your GPS, and it keeps creating this loop. So what we're going to do is that I want you to begin to notice that when you're looking at it, that I want you to feel a limitation. I want you to feel this limitation. It's like a restriction, but it's a limitation. And I want you to notice that whatever you hear, whatever you felt, whatever you knew about the topic, begin to notice that it says that it's, I made the choice to self-limit myself. Okay. The first way we're going to do this is everybody's going to start working on the left side of the body. And you are going to go down to the left foot only. See that spot there? And I'm going to check. Does everybody have? Okay, so before you do anything else, I want you to just keep looking at the number, keep looking at the number. Now, this is where I'm going. Now, the only reason they tell you that is because they don't want you to, whatever, just, so I'm going to do this. So you look at how you know this. And what I'm looking at is that how you know you're feeling attacked. Okay. And that you're noticing how you're feeling attacked. Now, remember, you measured it. It's measuring. Just feel it. Now, I'm going to do something else that you don't know, but I'm putting it on the grid again. Keep looking at your number. Keep looking at your number. Keep looking at your number. And that feeling of how you know it, if you begin to notice the numbers changing, let me know. And this is where you're going to use your awareness. And you're going to go inside. Is it same? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it indifferent? Again, how do you know it? Okay, so Miranda said it's shifting. She can feel it. Will says it's a 6 to a 3 to 0. Good. I'm not doing anything to you. You agreed to allow yourself to say, wait a minute, I'm going to look at it, observe it. And as it knows that it's being observed, it has to change. So you're doing a little bit of quantum healing, people. Feels softer, Thor says. Okay. Now, for those that are down to 0, start to feel empowered. If you don't imagine it, just see if it's going to be a good thing. Okay. Notice, just keep noticing. So an entanglement cord, by all means, is like a spooky theory, meaning that on one end, if whatever I'm doing can affect the other end. So you're talking about on a quantum aspect. That way you don't ever have to feel invaded. Brenda said 0. Okay. Now tell me what you experienced on your end. Was there any physical sensations? Did you feel anything? Because sometimes people can feel, they think that I'm touching them, but I'm not. Some people will feel a shift, depending on how you know how to read your field and your energy. Talk to me. Tell me how you know. And thank you for playing. And it's let me tell, and if there's people that still feel like there's a little bit left that haven't spoke up, let me know. Okay, and make sure that you notice now when you recall it, those that have passed it on, where's your eyes now when you think about it? Because remember, we're taking the emotion, taking the key out of the cell, and so that the memory can be the memory. Just felt softer. Jaw hurts from so hard to it fell much. Ooh, less. Okay. Good, good. Very good. You're doing good. So share with me how you know. Was that a good thing we just did? Did you feel like you were part of it, that you had empowered, that you could do something with it, that you could do something altogether? Tell me what's going on. Muscle spasms, left back, middle muscle. Is it still happening? That's good. I mean, let me know if that's part of your call. Down to the left. My body, Miranda says my body shifted different times, and on the occasion, my arm went, flying. Oh, interesting, interesting. Look straight forward now. Excellent, excellent. So Deborah went down to the down left. That tells me that it's the self-talk, it's the rehashing. It is how you are doing your best to cope, handle, and deal. And I'm just going to send this out real quick so that we're just going to put it up on the grid. And this is part of that readjusting about how you kept yourself safe. I'm going to ask Spirit, what else can we do? And they said, this is where you could play a little bit more, because there's a little bit of feeling of not being like you're in control because it's not making sense. This is what you're going to do. I want you to take it. Now you're going to empower yourself. You're looking to the down left. I want you to just say, okay, I'm going to measure that the best I can, if whatever number's there, and you're going to remove, transcend, and let it go. You literally are going to take your eyes and look over to the right, the lower right. And then you're going to measure it there. And again, this is you, because as I'm looking, remove, transcend, and let it go, I'm going to begin to just change the energy in your field. And all I'm doing is that I'm putting it on the grid so that you can see it. That's it. We don't have to invade in anybody's space. We don't have to wear their germs. And just so you can understand, Deborah, is it still there? What's going on? Because yours is a huge thing. But let's see, now and away, just briefly. Looking straight ahead. Okay. You can choose to regain the habit, because if that's how you know it, it's hooked into a belief. And if you get this result and you can learn to witness, that means that when this comes up, you're like, hold on, do I have to believe that? Or do I need to just let the habit go? Because the morphogenic field needs to literally let it go. So now you're working on another level. Okay. But all of these things, this is what I want to teach you. I want you to become your own healer. I want you to, if you want to be a healer, you can help others. And it doesn't have to be anything weird. I want to take the woo out of it. So the rest of you, you're like, oh my God. Okay. You can break space. So just imagine that because you engaged in this moment and you're like, you're not quite sure, say you're going to scoop up off the ground. Just imagine me in front of you. Scoop it up, scoop it up, scoop it up, scoop. And how do I disconnect from that? Scoop it up, scoop it up, scoop it up. And then you're going to, hold on, Spirit is like waiting for the other person. So when you're scooping up, you make it into a ball. Okay. And you bounce it. Don't ever put your hands together yet. You'll start to feel it. You can see color and all of this. This is where you can really explore. Go up to the top of my head and just start spreading it all the way down. Scoop it up again. Notice it could be different shape. Like I got a rectangle here, you know. And again, you're breaking connection from that grid. Oh, that's weird. That's like an egg in there. And so then you're going to take and you're going to spread it again all the way down. Okay, scoop one more time. And then when you spread it, and then you're going to bring your hands together and you say, it's yours. And then you'll feel this dispense. Now, if you're like, oh, I don't know, then put your elbows together. And you're going to imagine we're going to start here. And you're going to go. And then you're going to imagine here. You're making big ass figure eights. Then you're going to imagine, we're going to put it by the solar plexus right here. And then we're going to go down by the hips. Go down by the knees. Go down by the ankles. And there's some clearing. Underneath your feet. And then you're going to take your hands together, place them on your thighs. Straighten up your spine. Bring your hands together and push up. Now you're going to bend your hands and you're going to look up. Now my eyes are closed. You can have them open. Look up, but take this one and push down. Whoops. Breathe in and out. Breathe in, bringing and letting heaven rush in. And then we're going to bring our hands together and then push the opposite way. Okay, so now we're going to add one more thing because somebody else is like, eh. All right, now put your head down. Look at your hand that's bent down there. Bringing all the energy from the top down to below and from below above. So as above, so below. Bring your hands together one more time. Tilt your head. Look down the other direction. Now you can start bringing your hands together like this. And then I want you to hold the belly button and the forehead, push in and lift up. Smile, chin up. And then I'm just noticing the figure eights. So the question then, how do you feel? Anybody works on you, you can just break the connection even if they forget. If it's just you being in somebody's house and all of a sudden you feel their, you can sit there and do that in your head. You can go home, you can get in your car, bathroom. You don't need to have somebody be sucking off of you. Okay. You literally can learn how to have space, how to create the boundaries. Okay. I'm hoping you all had, I want to hear from you, but I'm hoping you all have had an experience and some understanding and to help you grow. So you don't have to be in a particular space, feel like you have to be victimized in any form or put up with or whatever you want to call it. I want you to feel, I want you to feel. And what's funny is I can't seem to find where I signed on to do this show. That's weird. It's a new way to get onto the show, and I'm like confused because it opens up another spot. And I'm like, where? Oh, okay, found it. Oh, you know what? You know what I just found? Hey, Miranda, I might want to do a reading for Lorraine. So give me a moment. Okay, Will says, I am in the process of awakening and breaking the code. So this all helps. Excellent. Because when you're doing this, we are breaking the code. So it's the old encoding that we're taking our power off. By being in this new energy field, you are downloading new codes, and we're passing on keys and stories so that you can start creating a foundation. Okay. I totally understand all those of what you're saying. Good job. Thank you for waking up. We're going to create a whole new existence. We're creating the third option. So Will, good job. Okay. Miranda says, I got in the space and got hot when I arrived there. Interesting. So you're becoming aware of different frequencies. So a lot of times people won't be able to hold that frequency. So there's different tiers within the grid about where you come in at, so that you are always in alignment in a healthy space. So just to let you know. And so if you begin to become aware that you can feel safe, or that you know that you've entered this space, that helps. It's all good. All right, so I'm going to give Lorraine, because I know that she shared a couple hours ago, Lorraine Gaskin. And they said, the helplessness energy. This is what really makes you human. This is what really makes you human. And they said it makes the compassion. It makes the compassion. And there's a part of you that's you're developing and changing the level of consciousness in which is the second chakra, the level of consciousness. And they said that you're ready to let go of. You're ready to let go of this learned behavior that has to do with hysterical energy about being scorned. And they said you are ready to reject that, to which it has to be your filter, and that you have to draw those in. So that means it's changing your attraction factor. And you're learning to really self-soothe this. And they said if you're really wanting to go further, all you have to do is hold L1S and notice that sour-graping has invaded that meridian. So you just hold L1S, and I want you to start tuning in to how people sour-grape. Look it up. And then notice that if you don't have it in your language, that's fine. But notice how when they speak it, it's just like a spell. And all of a sudden it shows a very particular reaction you go into because you hear it as scorn. They want you to say, oh my God, I recognize that it's scorn and I don't want that anymore. And when you do that, then you can hold L1S and really heal it out. Okay. Okay, so Miranda says, I just know I was in the space, one of my telltale signs. Good, good. You building that file system. That's awesome. Oh, Alana, how have you been? I haven't seen you in a while, darling. Would you like a reading, my dear? I think you probably would, but I'm not going to push it on you. I'll just wait. So were you able to experience the healing aspect that we just did? I'm curious of what you would think too. So, yeah, okay, yes, Alana. Oh, God, I feel this repressed energy, and it's weird because it feels like it wants to sit on my chest. And I think you had a session with somebody, and the nerves, it's like something that is familiar to you. And so I'm going to ask. And they said, yes, when you were 4 years old, I don't know who was sick, but there was some emotions that were in the room. And it was, you had to curb yourself. I can't behave a certain way. So you had to curb yourself. So it creates a repress. And you knew this, whoever you worked on, you could feel something. You weren't sure about what it was. So then you'll notice that when that happens, there's a certain amount of words, guilt tripping, that kind of taps into it. And I said, is this more of what? And they said, it's how I readjust. It is the energy when the signature is there, even if I can't hear it. And they said they want you to tune into how people use guilt tripping in a certain way, good, bad, and indifferent. You're going to figure that out, and when you start to do so, they said you'll wake up even further, and you'll know, hold L3D, because you'll notice how some people do not have empathy, or how you have to say, no, I'm not going to use my empathy here, but you're learning how to bring empathy into an alignment. Okay. After his third position, deep. Nita. Hi, darling. All right, Nita. They said you recalled something and it had to do with a safety issue. And you could see how your behavior went into a self-preservation. They said you began to notice that it's like, oh, I do readjust. And then that feeling causes an action. And with that, you're like, that's where I distrust, right there, right there. And I said, okay, good, you found it. So that means L2S, left wrist second position, soft. And what they said is that when you see it, you'll start to notice how it creates an indecisiveness. It literally will start playing with that. And you're like, oh, you are waking up now. You're starting to say, no, I do not have to go in the indecisive. I do not have to readjust. And you're like, I got it. And then you're like, okay. So then they said R3S, because they said you will want to come back with a guilt tripping, or you want to come back with using that energy of guilt, or how it's come in and out. So you can begin to heal. Ooh, in an interesting way. We like that. We love that. Keep doing it, Nita. Coming in the middle of it. Yeah. Oh, you came in the middle of it. So you didn't really get to participate. You may want to rewind and listen, and then I'd be curious what your thoughts are about how you've experienced it. So I'm just gonna look again, see what else we need to do, just double check to make sure I didn't miss anything. You guys are awesome and great. You really are. You've been busy, yes. Haven't been able to connect. I felt like you've been, life took you and said, poof. Oh, you paid for 2 readings. I didn't even notice that. Deborah, hold on, Thor, where'd you go? Did you want the reading? Did you want to come on? I didn't even realize you paid for 2. It just came across and said that you paid. Oh, you did. Okay, did you want to come on? Or did you want me to do that with Deborah too? Did I screw up? Yes. Okay, let me get the link. Let me get the link. So yes for you or yes for Deborah, because I can still do Deborah. I am so sorry. I just came up and said that you read this teeny tiny words. See, sometimes you just got to open up and tell me a little bit more, because no, I didn't forget you, but that's a good sign. That's a good sign. We're going to figure out what's going on. Yes, come on in, darling. Oh my goodness, yes. Spirit's funny and sneaky. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I didn't even know it, Deborah. Oops. No, I'm not going to feel guilty. I understand that these are signs about what we need to do. Oh yeah. Oh, thank you, Miranda. She said it was about 2:18 about when the healing started. So that'll give you a reference point, Alana. Oh, let's see. My hair. I feel like this side's gonna come down. I don't know why. Whew. All of a sudden I got a little hot there. Oh no, what's happening here? I don't know. Okay, I'm changing. Literally, I can feel the structure of my hair and my head and my nerves. So Spirit is trying to tell me, I actually feel like I've got pain going on there. You're welcome, Alana. So what's going on here? So this has to do with the will. Let's see what's happening. This will be an interesting journey. Oh, I'm so sorry, Thor. So we're going to see where she's at, and it's always good to see her. And like I said, some people, you don't have to use a video. You can use audio, but it's always. And I will have to tell you, Miss Thor, Miss April, well, probably should wait till she gets on first. Nope, that ain't going to work. I am not sure what's happening here. I think she's just trying to get on. Oh. Ah, we have something. Hold on. Yeah, she's trying. She's doing it. She's getting there, folks. It's just taking a little time. Taking a little time. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Can you? Oops. Okay, I asked for to unmute. Let's see what happens. I have like one of the very first time that we got together. Do you remember the very first time when we got together? You had just got your nose fixed.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, that was I'm still having problems with it. I don't think they did a good job, but yes. It's been a while.
Okay, so but that came across that video. I'm like, and I like usually to walk people back and seeing if they've grown. So part of me is like, that would be kind of cool if I could pull up a clip and then see, if you would like to play, you don't say yes, we'll talk about it down the road. Don't say anything, but I could pull up a clip, and I think if I could video share that, people could see it, and then you could watch it, and then you could give feedback, and then we could see if you've grown, if you haven't, that's something down the road. Just keep that in mind. I'm not saying don't say yes now. Okay, so no, Spirit says, okay, I wasn't supposed to see that you paid for that second reading.
Why?
And that's what we're going to find out. Because I said, so why is that? And they said, you are in the stage of gun shy. How do I step back into things when this shit has happened? So your energy kind of makes it so you're present, but you're not present. See, you're present with me because hey, it's Brenda. Okay. But you're not present. And so that's what they wanted me to point out. And my hair, everything started to change shape on me. And I'm like, what's happening? What is that about? And they said, okay, if I show up, I have to show up differently. And I said, oh, does this have to be about how you have to readjust? And then I'm like, okay, but you're learning how to rise. And we've talked about this before. Rising up is that you don't have to do it their way, their way, their way, or your way. You're learning to find the new way of rising. And within that, that's when you start to listen to spirit. And even though you think you're fighting against them or you have to, bend to their will, it's not about that. You're looking to spirit and saying, what is that? What do I need? And then you're going to see the benefits and the joy when you start to choose that line. They said, right now, you can't help but to feel depleted. And I said, why is that? And they said, I can't help but to chase something. I said, are you even aware of it? And they said, yes and no. So I'm going to look at your nerves and I'm going to say, tell me what you're chasing. Well, when I was about 17, there was a contract of doing things with a person, just doing things. And so you had a way of living? Yes. So it's a way that you had a living. So a contract or a vow is something that you made a promise. Oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it this way. I can't do it any other way. But you're coming against your own conflict now.
Definitely.
Okay, so at 17, part of it had to do with how to deal with ego people. Well, I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to be this way. And I'm going to show them. And I said, can you tell me a little bit more if she's thinking back to the year that was and where she lived and how she was doing it? And they said, well, yeah, we can, because if we were understanding it had to do with male energy. I said, all right. And then they said, and then there was a part of her that just left a nasty taste in her mouth about how these male energies were being. Does this make sense so far?
I'm thinking it was my my first baby's dad. We got married, but
Did he give instructions?
He was very he would give the shirt off his back to anybody, but we never had, let's see, and I had to run away from him. I had to hide out from him because he kind of stalked me a little bit.
Okay.
And I hated him. You know what? I do remember. I probably said I never want to be in that position again because he.
Yes, it's the hold on. It's the hold on.
He was.
You can feel it. Look at it. Look at your body. See, this is what you're holding on to. I never want this to happen again. So it's a contract, but at the same time, I noticed the hold on. This also interferes with relationships and moving forward because I know you're not the same woman as you were before, but you're like, I'll be damned. And I'm like, how about if we stop being damned? and remove that particular curse we put ourselves into. And we start to release these things that are holding. They said, great, have her hold L1S. And I said, all right, L1S. And they said, they want you to just think about what we just talked about. Notice it, feel it. Notice how your body has an interesting pull right on me right now. It's like, I'm gonna
throw up? That's how I felt.
Yeah, and then there's also this weirdness in my face too. So yeah, man, I've got core muscles now. I mean, my whole man, if I didn't have all this fat, it would look like I had a six-pack, man. It was just like everything's so freaking tight. I gotta, heal this, get in there so that I can. And then I'm just gonna throw up on the grid because this has got to be untight. This is so tight right now. You're like, I'm running for this. I'm running. You can't catch me. Okay, can we do something so my body's not doing this? They said yes. Oh, whew, thanks. All right, so just stay there. Just really rehearse this. Really notice that you're holding on to. Listen to that. Put it on a scale from 0 to 10. Because you're like, I can feel the energy trying to coerce me, to force me, to notice how you know that. Notice, oh, okay. Your body says, I certainly remember it. Oh, wow, it's like you got a deep voice there. Oh. What would he say? Oh my God, just something just ran across my ear and you're like, you've been biting down too. Oh, this is why you had to have your teeth fixed just recently. And it's related to what just happened to you really recently, is that they're coming at you. They're coming at you, stalking you. Do you understand? You see the similarity between then and this point? Okay, remove, transcend, and let it go. And I want you to take, and I want you to say, you know what, I'm going to take my energy off of being damned. I'm not going to damn myself. I'll be damned if I'm going to remove, transcend, and let that go. I'm just going to take my power off because I don't need to invest in that anymore. I did at the time, but now I take my power back, and you're just going to start to watch it all break down and depixelate and destroy itself and remove, transcend, and let it go. And now the energy is transforming. Now, when you're looking at how I don't want this to happen again, notice you have done successful. Yep, it has not happened again. Take that power of how no you've grown. Take that wisdom, bring that wisdom in. And I want you to look at that wisdom and I want you to notice, yeah, I don't have to keep reinforcing this and keep having this story. And then the other half of your body is saying, yeah, but it's showing up in this yang bitch of a woman. Okay, sorry. But you know what I'm referring to. But notice how the belief, and notice that the little April, the younger April, was like, I know what helpless and hopeless is. I know. I don't want to have to play that part they're telling me I have to play. Remove, transcend, and let it go. And I've been fighting ever since, and I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of fighting. I'm so depleted. Well, notice that you won. Notice that you're so healthy and safe. Let all of that pass. Just notice that you have healthy and safe. Bring your energy forward. Bring your energy forward so that it can be in this moment with you, because you're going to rise out of this shit. You're going to say, you know what? I'm going to just unhook this person, unhook these beliefs, and I'll let them go. Ignore that. Just let it go. And what I want you to do is notice that you don't have to give up your expectations. You're going to rewrite them your way. So notice how it's like, you can't think this way. Now you got to go back to what he said and done, because he tried to control those expectations and the way that you did them. Okay. I want you to kind of see how this is with what's happening to you right now. And you're going to, and there it is. Can you feel that hopeless state there? I have to give this up. Take your power off it. As you start taking your power off, you're going to start feeling the right part of your brain open up and you're going to download answers. Yeah, I'm going to rise and I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to stand for something and I will stop falling for everything. Now, as you're looking at this, there's a part of you that's changing. Now look down to the lower right. And I want you to notice that that field does not have to be telling you what to do anymore. So you're going to remove, transcend on that track, and then you're going to switch over to the lower left, and you're going to listen to that self-talking and say, do I need to really talk myself in and out of this hell? No, I'm going to take my thoughts and remove, transcend, and look straight up. And you're going to smell fresh air. Do your best to just smell the sunshine, the new answers. And then you're going to look straight down and you're going to taste something that just feels like alignment. It tastes sweet. It tastes like you know. Notice how you know that you've done this. You've been here and you've grown. We're going to take and mirror and marry the wisdom and love here. As you start to let go of those old points, you're taking all your power back now. And notice that when you're holding on, you're going to go back and we're going to ask Spirit to help you measure. The thing about how you knew that moment and holding on to that it's never going to happen again, is it still strong or have you transformed it?
Wait, it's changed. It's gone. The crazy thing is, I thought I was over that.
Aha, but you're waking up. And what's noticing is that you no longer have to feel helpless. Because do you remember how you snuck away and you were able to be away from that first part? You're taking that energy and you're already getting download bucos of knowledge and different keys and tools, and you're just going to rise and build yourself something new. And you're going to start seeing this. You're going to say, thank you, Spirit. Oh, show me. Oh, this is the action. Oh, this is how it's happening. You can take your hand down now. And I want you to notice that part of the habit was your go-to. This reminds me of, I can't ever let this go because I don't want this to happen again. There's a certain type of language of talk and all of this. You're asked to wake up to that. Meaning, you do not need to be the end product of this auto response. As you begin to rise, you're going to start, oh wait, no, I can feel it, but I don't need to actually believe it. No, and take your power back. You can watch this. But once you see it, it's a 10, whatever. Just even doing this and staring it down. As you stare at it, you're like, ooh, I see it. I want you to look at it, keep your hand there. You can even tap. Make sure you do both sides of the brain. And as you tap, and then you can even tap your thymus so that your heart and brain can come into a coherence thing. I want you to notice that when you're staring at it, what's going to happen is you're going to allow yourself to shift, but keep just doing it and staring at it, remove, transcend, let it go. Because your hand is in proximity of touching your forehead, you're actually playing in the electromagnetic field, which is good. And bam, you're going to start shifting. You do not need to stay in that auto response, okay? And then you measure it again. And you can break those habits because you do not have to convince yourself to go back into the story. It's like, again, when I go out in the kitchen, I'll say, I'm so mad. Really? Are you really? No. Well, what do you do that for? Because it's an auto response. Well, do you like it? No. Well, then why do you do it? I don't know. And then I'll go, I'll make myself laugh and I'm done.
Now, it's funny because I had some issues today that I'm renting out a space and they're arguing with me over the electric bill and, oh, it's your fault. You didn't give me the right price. And I'm like, you know what? I should have said, okay, what am I supposed to learn? What do I get to heal out? Because I'm like, I just basically told them, you know, you don't have to be here. You can leave. I don't have to rent anything to you. And I'm like, I think maybe there's something more there though, because I keep attracting that stuff.
Right, right. And notice it has to come with an attitude. Notice that it's trying to override you being you. This is why I said when you start to go into business, which is another flow stream, you need to understand that there's certain laws within that flow stream. So when I got into business, I can't dictate it. I have to listen to it and then I have to adapt to it. It's like jumping rope, hopscotch, or not hopscotch, double Dutch. That's it.
Right.
And when you start to learn that, it's not about that you have to jump through hoops, but what it is that you are learning how to master being in that flow. So I got policies. I learned something I didn't know before, and now I've rised, and I don't have to do kindergarten work. I can stand in a graduate student place when it comes to these certain things. And when I have an accountant that takes care of this, and so then I have everything written, and I have everything that goes against, oh, my manners. Well, I clean those out, and now I've got everything more. The more I become professional, the more I get people that are going, well, haven't you changed? I'm like, sour-grape much? And then I would go heal that, because I don't need to attract that in, because as soon as they say it, that makes me go back to old habits, but I don't live there. So I heal that out, and I go in and I'm like, oh, it's a sign that I'm doing something right. Okay, thank you, Spirit. And I go a little bit further. Okay, so when you're attracting these people in, am I changing behavior? Am I getting upset? Do I feel like I can't answer them? Because our brain can cause this thing that wipes over us to where all of a sudden we have to give into what we know. So if I got someone that's coming up to me and bullying me, then my old reaction of where I was stuck, I wouldn't know what to say, wouldn't know what to do. And being a kinesthetic, you already know the answer before, it happens. And so you solved it before you have to really go there, but you can't help it because your ego part's going, okay. But so I had to heal all these things. So I would lose the fight before I began. And that's when I was asleep. And then as I started to wake up, I'm like, oh, hell no. Is it really worth my time? And so as I began to heal, the words I couldn't say, which was the rest development, the more I healed it, all of a sudden it was like spirit just came through me. And that part of me, the benefit of healings was, hey, I do have words to say. And it wasn't about fighting. It was the third option words. So people wanted to fight back when you get trolls. You love them sometimes, or you just like, oh, or you just ignore it, or you don't have, you different. You will know it.
Well, so I'm thinking that I reacted in just saying, you know what, fine, I don't need you. You can move out.
There you go.
Is that not the right thing to do? Because I was just
but see, that's the thing, is that if you're used to that end result, and then you keep coming back to it, and you keep creating that end result, Spirit is saying you need to rise out of that. So your energy that's in that end result, I would tell you to end up holding L3S, because you know that you have to be let down. It's an actual feeling of feeling let down, and you have to give into that. So this is going to be this broken record pattern that's in an arrested development. So if you start to break that, then when you start, you can feel this particular emotion. When you measure that, you're going to free up space. Okay, safety, security, stability, serenity, space is freedom. And when you do that, all of a sudden, you're going to be able to tap into that spirit part of you that had got shut down long ago. And spirit is going to come up with some amazing ways that you've never thought would ever come out of your mouth or behave, but you don't have to be a victim to that behavior, that emotion, that addiction, that feeling, that let down, that story. Okay.
What is that? Is that like, because I'm a fighter, and so I argued a little bit, and then I said, I'm not arguing. And is that just me? I mean,
that's old patterns. That's just old patterns. That's your old personality. And you're going to keep coming in conflict until it's resolved. But as the new part of you rises, you end up with me, or you end up healing. And what's happening is you're starting to rise even further, to skill build and to come out and rise. You're being a phoenix right now. And you don't know because it's new, but yet there's a part of you that can taste it and you already know. So now you're tapping into old remembrance about how to rise.
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I was being I pushed away. Oh, that's horrible doubt too on my own part, because it's like, I feel like I'm just pushing them away and say, you know what, fine, you can leave. I don't need your money.
There you go. See, you just dropped into a little bit further. See how it felt now? All of a sudden you have feel the push. Feel that? Feel that?
Well, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because I thought I was just because
But that is a reaction thing that keeps taking your life force, and you keep repeating a story that you don't want to do anymore. So it's not that it's bad. It's just
I push it away and say,
you're trying to say, I want to stop this. I don't want to part in this. Part of me don't like this. And when you're in that state, it tells me that there's a root that you haven't touched yet. Okay. You eventually heal to the point where you don't even have to track it in. You don't even have to go to that. My reaction to people and old situations had that same type of earmarks. It would be that behavior. But because I've healed so much, now it's like I don't even track that in anymore.
I'm looking forward to that time.
And you will, because when you work with spirit, it'll show you. Normally you would have responded this way. Oh, you're right. I don't have to. And I did it. Oh, and then spirit will even point out, if you listen, you did it this way, and you did it with your heart intact. You were able to still have a benevolent love of your heart. You didn't have to lose yourself. And they didn't have to be this tug of war, this control, this push and pull, this dynamics of energy. Who's got to fight? Who's got to be on the power? Who's got to cave? I got to change your behavior before you change mine. No, there is actually a third option. Like, for instance, as you're holding that, me and my husband have come together and we do third options. So he likes the window to have curtains in front of it. I like to have no curtains, right? But I don't want them to look at me. So curtains down. And I said, I like the sunshine. But then I said, thank you, Spirit, for the third option. And then I sat in it and I just let that 2-minute roll around. And the next thing you know, I started to be the resolver. That's what my frontal lobe's supposed to do. I turned it on, tapped into it, and Spirit goes, hey, how about I put a lace curtain? Then you both could be happy. Yes, got a lace curtain, put it out. I says, how's that? Oh, perfect.
I just felt like I was kind of a bully because I don't have to deal with his stuff. Because it's like,
right. But do you want bully energy to be what's called relationships?
No, I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to deal with people that I don't want people to be like that in the first place.
Exactly.
I have to pick up his cigarette butts and he's a mess. And now I'm arguing about what he wants to pay. And I'm like,
but you're willing to put up with it because he may be the only client that you'll ever have that'll do that. No, we put ourselves into situations. Like when I first started out, I was willing to take any client because that's what I thought. And then I started to notice that I would track clients in that wanted to do a certain behavior. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Well, you need to eat. Really? That's why I'm doing this? And so I started to heal out the pain and all of this and the attraction. And when I did, all of a sudden new people appeared. Oh, all right. And you get to grow. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
You're going to take that with you and you're going to take the lessons with you. And you're going to notice when it's not love, heal it out. And that position right there is the best one for you at this point. When it's not love, when it comes to having to, it's not love. If you've already come together and it's on his terms, his behavior, it's not love. It's not balance. It's nothing. Heal him out, heal it out, heal it out. Track new people in. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, sweetheart. You have a good night.
Okay.
I love you.
Love
Bye.
you. Bye.
Okay. I see you, Amber. Congratulations. Oh, neat, huh? Very pretty name, Allison Marie. Love it. Love it. I'll give you 1 minute and then I'm going to get going. Okay. Anybody else in the room? Let me know. All right, Amber. There's a certain amount of, wow, this is criticism, but they're telling you, oh no, it's feedback. They're trying to convince you that they're telling you their opinion, that it's the only opinion, but they're delivering it on the new age way of thinking. So to convince you thinking that they're on the same page. Oh, this is weird. So it feels like a friend. And there's a part of you that's not sure how to trust this because and I'm going to tell you what I feel is that they're more in the ego mindset, learning the new age tools. This is what I call an ultra spiritualist, is that they're wearing it. They're just not embodying it or being it. And so it's about a new way of taking that and holding it as a power so that they can still be who they are, but it is a way that they can use accusations and accusing. So it's like when a psychopath doesn't have a feeling, but they can learn everything and they can act it and be it, and you would never know it. Okay, hopefully that will make sense to you. Okay. All right. Oh, Divine Ann, are you still here? Divine Ann. Oh gosh, I know you because I can't remember how to say her name. Why does that? Okay, again, I'm in a certain state. But if you're here, I'll give you 1 minute if you'd like. It's up to you, darling. So it makes sense, Amber. So do you have a person in mind that just be understanding that because you're growing, you also have to begin to notice the in-betweeners. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing, because if you're not fully awake to lift that veil, yeah, oh, I'm going to tell you. She says, I think it's his dad. Now listen, let me tell you something. When I started to transform to come over here, I would get the person I was married to or the people in the house to use my words against me. And they knew and how to play that game. And so they did it deliberately with intention of hurt. And I says, really, that is not love. I don't understand why you feel that you have to use my words against me, because that's not what I do in this relationship. That's your game. And when I healed out that pain, then he disappeared. Okay, well, you know what? Help her heal that out. They said, go a little bit further, hold R3D. Okay? Because you've got your wheels spinning afterwards. And you're like, what? And I've changed. Look at my language. I've changed. See my behavior? Yeah. Yeah, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Okay, so I believe there's nobody else in the room. I'm going to double check that other room. Okay, that's good. We're all good there. And I believe I have fulfilled my quest for today. You guys have been great. Thank you so much. Exactly what he does. Okay. Thank you so much for being with me. And we will see you in Tribe tomorrow if you are in Tribal. If not, join up. And we're going to do some healing tools. Don't know what it is, but we're going to do some. Amber says, yes, started mirroring him. So he realizes what he's doing. He still doesn't get it. No, he won't. He'll then be hooked into the game. I'm going to, okay. I want, for those that are still listening. So Amber decided to mirror back. Okay. And what happens with that is that you are dropping your level into that ego, and you're going to teach them a what for. That's not going to work, because they actually feed off that. And they think that you want to play. And how do I know this? Because it's the same energy when you look at your child and put them in the corner and time out. And if they see you looking at them and you make eye contact, they're going to play it. If they can get you to open your mouth and talk to them again, they can play it. They want to change your behavior. So whatever it is, the hidden agenda is for that, it will come to pass. So it is a way that we pull in. You just have to heal and say, no, I'm not going to fall for it anymore. And then with that is that he wants the feeling of feeling small. You know what it feels to feel small. So I would tell you L3D. Left wrist, third position, nice and deep. Okay. Start breaking that Amber. You can do it. I know you can. Remember to resolve to evolve. And the more you stick with me, you understand that you can heal that instead of deal that. So heal instead of deal. You can heal anything, so you can heal that. Grab a tool, when in doubt, heal it out. And do your best to stay blessed, because you already are.